That should be fine.
It should be fine.
The worst case scenario is that you might have to mute the audio from your.
Yeah, I just turned it down.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
I should be streaming.
Moose. You have a moose tauren.
Uh-huh. I unlocked the High Mountain Tauren.
Oh my! You have the high mountain tauren. I thought you didn't like taurens though.
I don't
Discuss
really
that.
so much, but the High Mountain are moose, so I like the moose.
Well, yeah. I mean, they don't hit your car,
No,
so that's
they would
happy.
destroy
Oh,
the crap
wow.
out of my car.
Well, I'm okay with the moose tauren.
I love the antlers.
Yeah, no, the antlers. There's only
So
two
beautiful.
different colors you can do. That or just plain. Like
Mhm.
I could actually go in here and show you. With the High Mountain, and then the females look like that. We're the same. But
My God, that's an evil tauren.
but
Okay.
there's an issue over here on the side
Yeah.
where if you go to return your character, it just kind of does that.
Oh. Jeez.
But the horns, big old horns.
So now, like, if you start a new character, you start at level 20 automatically.
Yeah.
Oh
So
well.
so the hunter I made, I was trying to do a hunter, and I'm like, you know what? They're actually really good. The racial passives are really suited to a tank.
Okay.
Because they get reduced damage.
Now, is this something that you can do in classic, or are you in the regular WoW?
I'm in retail, which is, I guess, what we're calling regular WoW now.
Regular. Okay. All right. I'm curious because I didn't know if you had played any of the classic WoW.
I haven't. Apparently, someone's already gotten World First Ragnaros.
Yeah, well, somebody tapped out at like level 60 or something in the original.
Yeah, that's the level cap in the original.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess someone already beat.
Yeah, someone got that in like 70 hours or something in the first 3 days.
Yeah, they already
Yeah.
beat Ragnaros,
Oh, great.
which is like the big bad guy of vanilla.
Oh, fun. I'm so happy.
Yeah, so some guild. They're like, yeah, we're gonna do it.
Right?
Not even 3 weeks in. They're like, Ragnaros is dead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, that must be nice for them. Um. Anyway. Yeah. So anyone who's joining us, I guess either early or late. I don't know if this actually considers if we consider this early or late. It's late by normal comparison, but it's like early by what I for 10. But hey, if you joined us early, that's cool. You we're probably not early, so there's something to
I
think
have a
about.
moose. A moose on a moose.
Also, Alex is a moose, so there's something to enjoy.
Moose on a moose.
Yeah, he's a moose on a moose. Oh my God, there's so much. There's so much to deal with right now. I don't know what to.
Mm-hmm.
If I was trying to ride a human, that's right. you should absolutely change your mount right now.
I should do what?
You should change your mount. You shouldn't be a moose riding a moose, Alex. That's not natural. Nothing natural about that.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. What do you want me to? What do you want me to ride?
No, ride a tiger. A moose riding a tiger seems like a perfectly natural thing.
I don't know if I have a tiger. I don't know if I have a tiger on the horde, anyways.
Okay, all right. That's
I could
perfectly
ride a
fine.
raptor.
You can ride a raptor. Oh, all right. Ride a raptor then. Do
I
do
could
you?
ride a scorpion?
You can be a moose riding a scorpion. Well, there you go. That sounds like a plan.
I mean, I can
You
be
go
a
at-
moose riding a wolf.
I'm sorry to realize like I shouldn't tell you how to do you. You should be whatever you want to
I
be.
can ride a zebra.
If you want to be a moose riding a moose, it's fine.
I mean, I prefer the death wheel, honestly, if I'm not riding a moose.
Oh yeah. I mean, I kind of like your unicorn zebra.
Yeah, the
That's
zebra.
cool. Yeah, the zebra. Yeah, that's pretty great.
So I'm gonna be doing this because then we're actually streaming a game while we're chatting about whatever the heck we want to chat about.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. That's terrific. Uh, I'm so happy for you. You get to have like a goal,
Hmm.
but you're a moose riding a motorcycle, and that's good. You should feel very proud of yourself.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, that's great.
I mean,
Everybody who's
I could do
just
this, or I could do
yeah.
PvP on my death night.
There's something to think about. So for anyone who's just joining us, who
Woof.
who might not have the glory of visual to deal with, Alex is currently playing a moose, riding a motorcycle in World of Warcraft, and applaud him for that. He deserves our thanks and our welcomes.
Okay.
They said that he should feel very proud. Um, Oh, if anyone's wondering, yeah, I might sound a little bit off. I've had a day. um, that's the best way to put it. A, where I went to basically it's a homebrew jamboree, which is basically just a festival of drinking, and so and yeah,
Yeah.
yep, I
Oh,
did
okay.
I did all of that, um, and it was good, and I enjoyed myself. Probably too
It
much.
sounds like it.
Yes, and then I came home and I was like, "Oh no!" And so now I'm just kind of like trying to recompose myself,
You decompose yourself?
decompose. I'm more decomposed than anything else. You're right.
Yeah.
I really should. Yeah, more composed, but I'm not. I'm gloriously decomposed.
Oh, good.
But they had mead, Alex.
You know,
Had ciders.
I'm not really a big fan of mead.
Oh, interesting. But ciders.
I do like
You like the
ciders.
cider?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had plenty of those too.
Well, that's good.
I did the judging for both the cider and mead category. Fun.
You're qualified for that?
Yes, because I wrote my name down on a sheet of paper, so I qualified for it.
Oh, so
Qualification.
it wasn't like you need qualifications, Judge. It's like, here, we want your opinion.
It's basically here. Do you want to write your name down on this piece of paper to do judging? You're a judge now. It's not particularly. The qualifications, they don't ask for your qualifications. They don't ask that you are have the ability to do it. It's basically, can you write your name? If you can write your name, you are qualified
I
to do
don't
this
think
job.
after you've been drinking that much that you should be able to write your name.
Well, I signed up before I started that process. Before I started the drinking part, and then by the time I got around to that, it was like the last round of judging. So I had been drinking by that point. So
So, did you save any for us?
I can't really distribute out the alcohol throughout the channel, Alex. It's not doesn't really work that way.
Oh, excuse me. I just died.
Tell you that works well, where you can actually just take like a beer and shove it through the microphone to other people. If I could do that, I would totally do that for everybody. But I can't. It's not. They haven't developed that technology yet.
Well, get on it. Let's go.
That's the new technology I need to do. Yes, absolutely. It needs to be like the new Blue Apron alcohol that I could do through the thing. It's beer apron through the through the microphone. Won't that be lovely? Everybody will be able to be drunk together. We'll be so happy.
I mean,
Any, anyway, um, anyway, so Alex is having a fun time in Azeroth. I'm assuming that you're still in just the basic Azeroth. I'm not sure.
yeah, I'm in Gilneas right now. I'm in the ruins of Gilneas, which is over here in Silverpine.
Yeah, see, I'm so unfamiliar with the landscape now that Cataclysm and everything has come in. Because,
If I could show you, I would totally. I'd have to go on um, my Death Knight. But Dark Shore is really fun now. Teldrassil was set on fire,
oh my goodness,
so this entire island up here is just been inflamed. It's wrecked.
I love being
For lack of
inflamed.
me having other better words to use, it was wrecked by Sylvanas.
Oh great, I love being inflamed. That's my favorite thing ever. Um,
So I
it's
might
good.
actually hop onto my Death Knight to show that to you, because it's
All
really
right.
fun. But we also have the Broken Isles, Cool Terrace, Zandalar now.
Oh
So
nice.
this is what Azeroth now looks like. And then
Oh
you
my
get
god.
Draenor and Outland, and from Draenor you also get no, maybe not. No, it's from the Broken Isles, isn't it?
Yeah, I've
You
missed a
get
lot.
Arius as well.
Okay. Yeah, I've missed a lot in WoW, so I'm
There's
completely
a lot
inept
of
when it comes.
zones now. They redid all the leveling bits for Azeroth
Mhm.
to 10 to 60 basically. So like
Okay.
the zone I'm in here, Silverpine, is levels 10 to 60. You can level there pretty much till 60 if you want. Well,
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Okay.
as long as you have quests and stuff to do, you can do that.
Out of curiosity, just have you gotten a chance to play Classic, or have you kind of eschewed that until things calm down?
Till things calm down.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Because I did hear that breaking, like right out of the gate.
Yeah, there's a lot of people playing Classic.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that were like, "Oh, you're taking WoW back to vanilla. Okay, let's go for it. Let's do that right now."
Yeah, there were actually a bunch of people in chat earlier that were like, yeah, if you want the real experience of WoW, go play Classic. And I'm like,
Yeah.
don't tell newbies to do that. That's a good way to get them to not want to play.
Well, I mean, that's how I came into it.
Well, that's
Yeah.
also the gaming's been streamlined so much since then. It's so much
Right.
easier for people now, and not in the sense that oh everything's easy, in the sense that oh everything's a lot more fun and less grindy.
Right. Right. But I don't know if that's I mean, I kind of hate that idea of like if you want to play the real WoW, it's like both of them are the real WoW. It like one is just the WoW from once upon a time and from now. I mean, it's neither one is more WoW than the other one. But they're both the same game. It's just from different times.
Yep.
And if our Discord is to be believed, Van is playing Classic right now.
Probably.
So hey, at some point maybe I'll ask Van how the Classic is. I mean, I kind of remember Classic. It's just I have not played for so long. That's hard for me to.
So
What
it's time
the
for you to get back into the game.
no, 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 no. The answer is no. I don't think I'm getting back into WoW anytime soon. Since DC is actually here, I should ask DC: are you at all familiar with WoW? Have you played at any time?
Yeah, I played
Familiarity.
through Wrath of the Lich King, and then I stopped.
Okay, so
Did
you're
you
like
only play during Wrath of the Lich King then?
No, I played from beginning to
Oh, okay. Played
okay.
Vanilla 2 Wrath. Wrath
yeah.
was really good. Um, And then I've talked to Nathan about it before, but I actually really enjoyed Cataclysm because they shook everything up on Azeroth. And just the stories they've been telling have been great. Ooh, what are you doing here? Guess I'm gonna attempt to go around you. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, DC kind of pieced out around the same time I did because I think it was Wrath of the Lich King
Yeah,
when I stopped playing.
you played
Yeah,
Burning Crusade and Wrath with me.
yeah. I had joined in right around the time Burning Crusade was already out, and then I stopped playing after Lich King came out. Just because I had like a couple nights where I was like, I burned through the entire night playing and dinging a few times, and I was like,
I mean, you can do that a lot
yeah,
more now.
right, yeah. It was just like I played through an entire night, and I think I gained 3 levels, and then I like the morning came up of cake that I had made, and I went outside, and I was like, fresh air seems nice, and for some reason that was like my cue to say I can't play WoW anymore.
You just apparently got an addictive personality.
I was just like, yeah, this is not a good game for me to play. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm good and done. I just never picked it up again. I couldn't go back to it. Every time I thought about WoW, I was just like,
That
gotta play
happens.
something else.
It happens.
Most of my friends had stopped playing a little bit after Wrath, and then I usually just play with my friends because I know them and we can form groups together, and no one's yelling at me that I suck or anything like that.
Oh yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah.
Or that
It's
you're doing your job right, but then someone thinks you're not, and yeah. So
I
I'm
mean-
like, I don't want to put up with that.
That's why I don't like raid really ever, because I'm not here to have a job. People take that stuff way too seriously for my liking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
At the same time,
Yeah.
though, I was definitely tanking a dungeon on this character earlier, and someone pulled the boss, I think, before I got aggro. I'm like, could you, like, not do that? I'm like, otherwise you're liable to get killed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, some people have a death wish.
Well, yeah, usually it's mages and hunters, and this one was mage. I'm like, yeah, could you not pull aggro on the boss before I've had a chance to hit him? That way I can actually
Yeah.
get aggro on him. I like the upgrade thing they have now. If you get gear from a drop or a quest or anything, it can just
Mhm.
be randomly upgraded from either like uncommon to rare or rare to epic. So instead of this
Alright.
being a green chest, it's now a blue chest with better stats than it would have had.
Oh, all right. That I can get behind that. Okay. Yeah.
I'm a moose. I'm a moose.
It's like just get kind of tired with an RPG, even if it's like epic. It's that same thing. Like I eventually had to quit doing like Skyrim, like because I kind of done everything in it, but I was like, I could keep going, but I'm sort of just tired with it after a couple hundred hours.
I mean,
I'm just like,
I go back to Skyrim all the time because I enjoy playing
Yeah.
it.
yeah. I mean, I kind of imagine like I might consider at some point getting like the special edition or something, and starting from scratch and seeing if I would play through some stuff differently. But
Intercept.
yeah,
Sorry, I
I
didn't know I got a new thingy.
well, of course you got a new thingy. That's like half the fun of an MMO. You always are getting a new thingy.
Well, it
Every
replaced my old thingy. That's all.
Well, I love when the new thingy replaces the old thingy, Alex. That's like the best thing ever. Oh my goodness. Anyway, Alex is playing a moose. Alex is a moose,
I'm
right?
playing a moose. Nathan's apparently drunk.
Alex is playing a moose, and I had a lot to drink today. Because when you go,
boy,
the thing about it is when you go to a homebrew festival, they let you try everything, and some of these outlets that some of these brew clubs that come in have like 40 different selections to try. And then there's like 20 different brew clubs. So you're just sitting there kind of like going, I have choice paralysis in a lot of these places. I don't even know what I want to try. But before you know it, you've had like 20 drinks, and you're like, all right, I probably more than I needed to have. Oh, it's time for judging. Now I have to sit down and actually think about this stuff coherently for a while. That's good.
Well,
I can
sorry.
totally do that. I'm in no way unable to do that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's very good. But anyway, since I went to the homebrew festival, we did have an idea that we might talk a little bit about homebrewing on this episode. But before we get to that, I guess we're just fascinated with Alex's
Sheep.
moose adventure. Yes, you have the moose adventure that you're going on.
I don't think Moose Adventure is the best title for it, but yes.
Moose adventure. Also, a fun fact I thought I would share with everybody is that when I was at my particular brew festival, I ran into somebody that I used to know from work, saying that he is listening to Delve, and that he's been trying to keep up with the interviews and stuff that we did. So we actually had a conversation about some of the stuff that we've done on the show.
Oh,
So congratulations, Alex. Have actually had a conversation with somebody who is show actively
a live fan of the show?
actual fan of the
Oh, wait,
show.
sorry. I shouldn't assume they were a fan. They could not be.
Oh no, he said he really enjoys it and he likes it a lot and he likes what we're doing.
Shout out to that one guy.
Thanks, Nick. If you're listening to this right now, thanks, Nick. Yeah, he was like a few episodes behind, but he had been listening to. I think he said the last episode he listened to was explaining hard. If you remember that episode about how to actually explain what your games are,
Ah, yes. Yes.
so you remember that episode. So he had listened to that, but he was a little bit far behind because of apparently there's a crime drama podcast that got his attention really fast. Kind of like Serial, but it's a little bit different.
So we should turn this into a crime podcast? Because apparently
Oh
those
my
are all the rage.
God, can you believe if we did a tabletop crime podcast?
Oh my gosh. A tabletop crime specifically, so we're doing crimes and tabletop
Like
games.
tabletop crimes. Well, you know that moment when you're playing an RPG and you get into like a tavern and there's like a dead body just like hanging around. That's a true crime podcast
You know,
that we.
if we really wanted to do a podcast about tabletop crimes, it would be that hard. All we'd have to do is go into our RPG horror stories and just read from that.
Oh, that would be scary and terrifying, and they don't.
That's not what you think it is. It's not like terrifying stories. It's like horror stories from being at the table with like shitty players and shitty DMs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
actually horror. It's like, oh my god, this happened.
I'm very happy to say that I really couldn't vocalize any kind of horror stories myself because I haven't been in any kind of like toxic groups. That is a mercy that I have found. All the players that I've had and all the GMs that I've had have been lovely.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Have you been in any like bad groups? You don't have to name.
I think so.
Yeah. Just generally like just a group where you were like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah. I've had a DM who had a god complex, so.
Oh well, that's fun.
Yeah.
And if you somebody a god who has a god complex, the ability to GM,
Hmm.
that's not gonna negatively affect the table at all. That's that's always good.
It could negatively
Hey,
affect
especially if
players.
they're not a benevolent god, but
No, they were
but a
just, they were
vindictive
just bad.
yeah, you can have a vindictive god or you can have a benevolent god, and that's gonna really determine how they feel about GMing. Yeah. I've had a lot of GMs too that have the philosophy of this isn't really my game, this is everybody's game, and I'm just directing it. And so we're going to create this story together. I prefer to deal with. on a regular basis. And I would hope people would enjoy that, but I don't know.
Oop,
I don't
I
know.
died.
Some people might not.
Few too many elites
Well,
all at once. My bad.
Yeah, that sucks for you.
Most of my role-playing horror stories involve vampire LARP because I did that for
Oh.
a bunch of years.
Oh boy.
Vampire LARP.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in that case, like when you hit somebody with like your foam sword or something, do you steal their life energy
Oh,
through
no,
your?
no weapons. That was in the rules. No weapons. Everything was contested with rock, paper, scissors. This was the World of
Oh,
Darkness vampire, and I kind of hated
oh,
using
oh,
rock, paper, scissors to decide everything. But
okay. That's fair. That's fair.
you had item cards for weapons, which are just cards with the name and what it did, and
Wow.
Can
Okay.
you make them up?
uh, if your storyteller let you, sure.
So what you
Mm.
should have done when you hated it so much is just been like, here, I have an item card. It's called a atomic warhead.
Oh,
You just nuke the game.
yeah. I've been playing Fallout 76. Here, nuke everything right now to improve everything. Okay,
I had my friend ran vampire for a long time, and that was great. But
Hmm.
then we kind of expanded out and tried playing in other games and things like that, and we were just all like,
Like, yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah.
But
Fortunate.
you play in weird places, so
It's true.
Right.
Like at the shopping mall.
back of a tire store.
I think that is a much weirder. Oh boy, that's a drop.
Goodness. Yeah.
Woohoo!
See,
I crashed my motorcycle into the water.
You know what? That seems apt for you. you crash your car into a bear. You crash your motorcycle into a cliff. Go for it. It feels like this is modus operandi for you. That's why I never really got into LARP so much because I was always thinking like, where would we actually play? And inevitably, it's going to be like in a theater or a mall or some place where people are going to look at me strange and have question marks over their head.
Yeah, there was a couple game stores around here that would let us, and eventually someone's house, they just had a basement area. They said, yeah, I can just come by and use the basement area. Okay.
Yeah.
Basements are.
And some were
always
at
fun.
universities and things like that.
Yeah. That's nice that they have those spaces for it. But yay for LARPing. That is one section of the gaming community that I have not really been able to
There he
get
is.
into.
Looking for this guy.
But,
Disappeared in the game. You beard, so it's fine.
The cop, but you're just underwater. That's good
just
for you.
Broke up really good.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm more coherent when I'm broken up. You just dived off a cliff, but at the same time, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Water is your friend now. That's fun.
Yeah, as long as someone casts water walk on you while you're mid-fall.
Oh yeah. Oh, that hurt you.
Makes those grounds hurt real good.
Makes the water hard. I don't like hard water.
You have wings. All right.
No,
Yeah.
I'm in the arms of a Valkyr.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Let's go with that. You're in the arms of a Valkyr.
She got butt.
And like we should be singing like a Sarah McLachlan song.
Oh, there we go.
Watching this. In the arms of a Valkyr, far away. Won't you be an angel for these lovely dogs that need to be adopted?
I'm surprised you didn't make the
Hmm.
tag and stuff for the Twitch, like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't figure out what to call it. So maybe I'll call it World of Warcraft in the future. But it doesn't really help me now. Yeah, could. The problem is that once you're live, you actually can't change settings or anything. So we're on it like a bonnet, my friend.
On it like a
It
bonnet.
has to be
Oh,
this
the other
way.
one that is under that sort of changed is Arathi, which you might remember being an Arathi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
this is the Maelstrom.
okay. Yeah.
That's where the goblins that you can play are from, and then this is Deep Home.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. The classic at all, just to clarify.
What's
You
that?
haven't tried the classic at this point. The World War Classic.
World of War Classic?
Yes.
Is that what we're gonna call
Okay.
it now?
Asking if you have tried World War Classic at all.
No, we've been over this.
Okay.
Drunko.
Well, I'm sorry. I visited the tavern in World of Warcraft, and I'm feeling a little slightly inebriated. I'm sorry about that. Surprisingly coherent, considering all factors considered. Anywho, I by the way, DC, thank you for joining us.
Oh yeah, no problem.
I did not actually formally introduce you. I have heard tale that you have gotten a chance to actually play, which we talked about a couple episodes ago on the live episode during our E3 coverage. How has that been going for you?
So I beat it today, and then I went back and did all 3 endings of it. So I know I have a total experience of the game now.
Excellent, excellent. Was it everything that we were hoping for, or more or less?
Probably a bit less. The the
Yeah.
the music's really good. The graphics are really good.
Mhm.
The controls need to be a little tighter.
Mhm.
Just they don't flow as well as I would like,
Yeah.
and at points the story is confusing.
Mm.
And then I'm trying not to spoil it right now, unless you want me to do all the spoilers, because that's a
Oh,
different
it's fine.
conversation. And by the end of it, I was like, wait, that didn't make sense. Why did I go through all this again? Well, that's depressing. And your main character is also kind of a jerk. He has you're a watcher, not a witcher, a watcher.
Can they be both? A watching
Like-
witcher?
Yeah,
Or a wishy
And,
watcher?
you basically vary souls or help the living or the dead get to the next, like reincarnate, get to the next cycle of the life cycle.
Right.
And the very first thing in the game that you do is you help a little ghost boy go up to his parents, and he said, hey, and of course you can talk to the spirits, but the other people can't, and you're with another person you grew up with, and they're also a watcher. And you go to them, and they say, oh, we can't live without our son. Could you kill us so we can be with our son?
Sounds good.
And so the first
Okay.
thing you do is hold your sword. It kind of does a medium shot on you. You're holding your sword up as they are on their knees, and it just kind of cuts to you. It fades to black. You hear the slashing motion, and then it goes to the title screen.
Welcome to Oninaki.
I'm like, wow!
Wow.
And
Okay.
your guy has no bedside manner whatsoever. The person with you that you grew up with, she's like, yeah, maybe you don't need to phrase it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Great.
that's where it starts. And then this guy's life is basically horrible, or becomes horrible as you play through it, becoming horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to spoil things.
Nathan won't remember anything. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one big criticism that I heard levied against it was that like you can move between the worlds of like the living and the dead, but the enemies are the same pretty much from the living.
Yeah, the enemies are all just sort of reskins, and eventually
Right.
you're like, oh yeah, I've seen all these.
Yeah.
The thing is, sometimes you have to, when you're in a dungeon, you have to wait until you beat a certain boss, and then you can go into the next world and have the veil removed, and so you can actually see around. You can go into you can go into the veil without beating that thing that helps your sight, but if you do, you don't see anything, and one hit by an enemy, you're just dead.
Oh,
So
great.
So,
That's
and
fun.
then going into the veil seemed useless, but that's how you talk to spirits that you help out, and that is also where all the treasure chests are. There are no treasure chests in the real world.
That's weird. Why wouldn't there be real chests in the real world?
Yeah.
That's not explained. So
Because in the real world, treasure is just an illusion, Alex.
come up
don't
with your own
really
meta.
Only spirits have treasure.
Spirits own
The
treasure.
treasure
Good
was the friends we
evening.
made along the way.
Evening.
Oh, hey, look
Hello.
who's joining us.
Hello?
Hey, James. Are you
And,
joining us from a dorm room?
Hello, guys?
Hello.
I can't hear you.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem.
That might be an improvement if you can't hear us.
Also true.
It's
I'm gonna do a Pokemon battle here.
Yeah, Alex is gonna try to do a Pokemon battle. You're all set.
Yep.
Like it's funny because we can hear you, but you can't hear us. That's fun. Us making fun of him, but he cannot respond to us making fun of him. It's terrifying at the same time. It's gonna be even more terrifying.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Again.
Hey.
I can hear you now. Something weird with my speakers on my computer. Putting in headphones seemed to make it work.
Oh, good. That's good. Yes. James, you'll be very happy to know that I met a fan of the show today. At
that's wonderful.
a homebrew festival. Is aware of all of you. So congratulations on your newfound fame. You have that going for you. You can feel very proud of yourselves.
I don't even have that going for me. Wow.
I guess I made a good
No.
impression.
He knows who you are. He just doesn't care. But the thing about it, but the rest of you, he had very nice things to say about DC, and he was aware of you, James. So yeah, he's still aware of you. He's like, oh yeah, Alex, right? Yeah, cool. That's cool. That's cool. Whatever. Dude, man.
Yeah, that is cool. Hello, person I don't know, but who knows me.
Yes.
Nice to
Hello.
Welcome to the world
you're out there.
of tomorrow.
At the point you're listening to this, yeah. There you go. Nick, you get your shout out. There you go.
A second one.
You get a second shout out. That's always fun too. But Nick was at the same homebrewing festival than I was, so he knows how I'm feeling right now. He knows intimately the feeling that I'm having right at this moment. which is a feeling that I probably would have had if I ever went to college, which is the feeling that James is having. By the way, I should say, James, congratulations on the whole college thing. I didn't even know that you were off to college yet.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah. That's good.
It's been a lot of
Is
fun.
this?
Welcome
Yeah.
to debt.
Welcome to the world of debt. It's a fascinating world. We embrace you with open arms.
Actually, I went in debt free, so
Oh,
Oh,
you won't
man.
pretty
exit
proud
debt
of that.
free.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
I'm one of those guys.
Damn it. Uh,
Do you have a major yet, or still deciding?
I declared business administration, but that might change. It was just something so I had something coming in.
fair enough. Yeah. Are you at what we would consider a party college or like an actual like doing stuff college?
It's very much more an academic college.
I see.
I
Okay.
mean, not that they don't have like stuff going on, parties and stuff, but there's a like an emphasis on schoolwork and involvement that's not partying.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Isn't
Fair
there
enough.
always an emphasis on schoolwork and not partying? And then people just ignore it and party?
I think there's just a few schools where they just like don't care as
Things
much.
changed since I was 21.
Yes. Yes, everything has changed since you're 21, Alex. Record.
Everything changed once the Fire Nation attacked, guys.
Oh my gosh, I've been watching that anime and it's actually really good.
Yes.
Not that I didn't think it was good before, but
dare you.
like I've never seen it, so I couldn't make any judgment on it. Airbender is fantastic.
Yes, it's very good.
Oh, Avatar?
Yes.
Yes.
I have not played. I have not seen Avatar.
Nathan, you don't really do cartoons and or anime, so that's fine.
I don't necessarily do anime. And that whole thing from Shamalamalam that he did not endear me to the idea.
Yeah, don't ignore that completely because both the Last Airbender and Legend of Korra are fantastic.
I've not seen Legend of Korra.
Yeah, I'd heard Legend of Korra was awesome. But then again, they made a game of like Legend of Korra, and I heard that wasn't great. So
Most
like,
Yeah, ignore that,
adaptations
too.
aren't great if they're not.
yeah, unfortunately, like mediums that I would personally like, try and would endear myself to a brand. Yeah, they haven't done great things with those. So, but yeah, I have heard that the anime itself was really good, and I heard Janet Varney was really good in Korra.
Yeah.
And I do like her, so that would actually make me want to watch it. But I guess that was just one of those things that I just never got into. One, because they said that the games weren't very good, but then also because they said the movies weren't very good. So I'm like, well, that's not boding well for this whole process. But yeah, I think the only anime that I'm really familiar with is Pokemon, and most people would tell me that Pokemon isn't really anime either. So
Technically, yes, but it's more very Americanized as well, so it's iffy.
Yeah.
it's an Americanized version of anime. Yeah. Really hard Japanese anime. I just for some reason I just could never get myself into, and
You know,
I never.
if you want a good anime that's probably right up your alley, you should go watch Shin-Chan.
Shin-Chan?
Shin-Chan.
Shin-Chan. What is
Oh
Shin-Chan?
god, Shin-Chan. It is fantastic.
Really?
Nathan, you
Well-
like South Park, so you're gonna like Shin-Chan.
Well, if it's anything like South Park, I'm there.
It's similar kind of crude humor.
Oh, I'm loving that. Oh, I think we watched that when we went over to BFig. Watching that because it was like right after Rick and Morty or something.
I think you're thinking One Punch Man.
No, there was another one that had like a very like a small boy who liked to say foul things.
Oh, maybe. Might have. Could have been. I don't know. That was a couple years ago. I don't remember it.
Yeah. Funny story too. We actually, in terms of BFIG, we we got communicated to by the organizer of that event because they are moving the venue from where we had gone before to from MIT, and they're taking it over to like Columbia in order to do that this year. But he had it's happening next weekend.
Oh,
And he had talked about the MC for that event, listed as Eric Molina from Imaginary Worlds, and I contacted him back and I said, I think you mean Eric Malinsky because I've listened to Imaginary Worlds and I'm pretty sure that's his name. And he came back and he was like, "Oh shucks, you're right. I made a typo in that release." And I'm
oh
like, that
darn, autocorrect.
because yeah, if I was going down to be Fig, I would be absolutely like
Well, that's gonna be interesting to see that on
or,
stream.
or Mr. Eric
I'm
Malinsky.
attacking a bear. It's a great bear, and the bear just vanishes on me.
You know what's amazing is that is so on brand for you.
Yeah, I jumped and attacked a bear, and then it just vanished. I was like, oh, all right.
So beautifully on brand that you're attacking a bear. You should feel very proud of yourself for
I'm
that.
always proud of myself. Thank you.
I'm very aware. Pride is definitely the one of the 7 deadly sins that you're familiar with, and you should be very proud of yourself for that. I did my prideful thing and corrected the folks from BFig because I was like, oh my god, if I was going down this year and I could talk to Eric Malinsky, who's emceeing the award ceremony, I would be like, oh my god, he would never want to come back. Because I remember this guy and he came up and he talked to me for like ever.
Oh, you?
It's like me. And why can't we get Eric Malinsky back for this thing? And I'm like, probably Nathan's fault. Damn you, Nathan. Distance on fanboying out. But Imaginary Worlds, it's a good podcast. I'm sorry. I can't help that. If you have not listened to it, you should definitely consider trying it because it has some very interesting stuff on it.
I did watch your video on the re-review of Borderlands GOTY edition.
Oh, cool. Somebody actually did. That's fun. Usually no one, so that's good. At least one person.
I've actually watched, or I've actually played some Borderlands, and I didn't like the first one, so I was like, I wonder.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, you do like the first one. That's interesting. Well, I kind of understand. Like, if you've played the later ones, to kind of wrap your head around the first one because there's a lot of stuff. But yeah, it was weird going back to it too. Like I talked about.
Yes. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't remember too much about playing it, but I do remember that I wasn't a fan of it. The art style didn't help me at the time either, because I was like, alright, this art style is kind of wonky. And I was
Right.
like, you know, but I can handle it, and then it was
Hmm.
more so that the gameplay, I don't know. Something about the first one I didn't really enjoy, but the second one I actually did enjoy.
It's great. The second one's great, and pre-sequel was great. I really enjoyed that a lot. Actually, when I was talking to Nick today, he was like, "You should totally do a live play series on Borderlands 3 when it comes out." And I was like, "Oh man." I'm still trying to figure out who I would actually play if I get a hold of Borderlands 3 because there's 4 really good choices in this new one. But still super excited. Yeah, it's weird going back to the original Borderlands. I haven't played it in a really long time. I realized it had been 10 years since I played the original.
Oh wow!
Out in 2009.
I
And
didn't
I think
realize it had been out that long.
the original Borderlands came out in 2009.
Crazy.
And yeah, I'll tell you.
To be fair, World of Warcraft is celebrating its 15th anniversary next month.
Yeah.
In November, not next month.
And the thing that I noticed when I went back and played the Game of the Year edition, which the only reason I even played it was because it was free play days for Xbox. It's like I started playing it there, and when I finished, they had like an offer for like a pretty deep discount, and I was like, "Damn it, I still want to play." So okay, I'll buy your damn Game of the Year edition. Fine.
Yeah, that's
But
the reason I got like Dark Souls 1 and 3, for instance, because they were just on such deep sale.
I know sometimes they go on really deep sale, and you're like, I can't not, I can't not. There's one or two that are on sale right now that I'm like, damn it, I feel like I need to get that, even though it's. Oh yeah, the one that was on sale right now on GOG was Day of the Tentacle sale that was like $370 something, and I'm like, damn it, I kind of want to play that now. But yeah, that's how I ended up with Borderlands, and I was like, yeah, this looks great, much better now than it did before. And I like that it's all in one cohesive package, and I like that they added in the golden chests and everything, and that's great. That's all really great. There are still some noticeable exceptions that are in later installments.
Ooh. Sorry, I was
Definitely.
excited. I just got a rare spawn.
Got a rare spawn.
Yep. Do you remember those?
No. I don't think I ever had those. Did.
Okay, well, Nathan's lame.
When you have a baby and they're gold,
What?
like when you're like, oh, I'm having a kid, and then the kid puts out and he's like pure gold.
Yeah, I guess. I got a shiny baby. That's what I just. What?
Shiny babies are the new rare spawns.
Oh God.
You should definitely
My
show
baby is shiny. It's so shiny.
part of
Oh,
every.
rare spawn in WoW. The silver dragons. You never. You probably don't remember.
No.
Silly.
No. I never got those. I wasn't like important enough that I got rare spawns.
Okay.
I was the server like itself was like, no,
This guy.
you don't get this. You don't get rare anything. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, Borderlands. I did enjoy going back to it. I did enjoy playing it again, but there were a lot of things that I was just not aware of. Like I forgot that there's actually falling damage.
Oh right, because you don't fall in Borderlands 2 and you take damage. Sorry, you don't take damage when you fall.
You fall from any height. And my God, the amount of times in the original Borderlands where I would just like go toward the edge of the map, and then all of a sudden I would just like get spawned back and regenerated. I was like, I didn't even do anything. No, you went outside the mission parameter. Oh, okay, great. I went outside the parameters of what you consider the game. Okay, fine. If you insist. There were some things about it, like I was like, this is kind of raw by comparison to what I was familiar with the later Borderlands installments, but I still had a fun time with it, and I was glad to be able to go back in with all the expansions and everything. But you know, it just a nice experience to have. It was a little bit of nostalgia for me, but I liked what they did in the further installments more.
There you go.
And I would prefer to go back to those. I would prefer to go back to the later installments and what they did. So that's one of the reasons why Borderlands 3 is like that and Outer Worlds, and pretty much that's it. That's pretty much it for me.
There you go. In case anyone's wondering on stream, I'm currently in the crater of Dalaran, where it used to be. Of course, my map says that, but
You're in the crater of Dalaran.
Do you remember Dalaran from Wrath of the Lich King, Nathan?
Oh. No, I don't think I do. Originally.
Alright, well. How about DC? Do you remember Dalaran?
I do.
Remember the floating city in the sky?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm where it used to occupy on land.
Nice. All right.
Oh my god.
Big old crater that is Dalaran.
Oh, so that got reskinned and everything too in the Cataclysm?
No, this happened before that. They moved it up to Northrend. And that
Oh.
Dalaran's moved like 3 times now. They teleported it up to Northrend. They moved it to the Broken Isles, and I believe they also moved it. Oh, where is it? Also, it's also. Oh boy. Is it in Draenor? No, it's not in Draenor. They moved it to Northrend and Broken Isles. I feel like there was somewhere else that it moved, but I can't remember where. Maybe it's just twice.
We got the road crew together. We moved Dalaran.
They got all the mages together, and they just moved the city.
Hey guys, we got to move Dalaran again. Come on. We gotta go. No, we got a work order right here. Now Dalaran, moving it right now.
There's a portal here I want to take, but I need to.
And I mean, come on. Imagine if you had to be a person that lived in Dalaran at any given time. It's like, what do you mean you're moving our entire Providence around? All right.
I'm being attacked. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's
people
fine
who run the shipping routes would be very upset.
Oh my
god.
god.
Imagine the post. Deliver this to Dalaran. Oh, it's not that far. No. That Dalaran. What?
Yeah, I love the idea of having an informational post that's up there, and it's like every 5 seconds, like the little arrow changes direction and it changes every. Okay, so where do we get to? Oh no, not that way. No, not that way. Oh crap! Where are we going to Dalaran today? How are we getting there?
Kid, it was only 2 silver to post a message to Dalaran.
Back in my day, we used to be able to get to Dalaran, no problem. Now.
It's even better when you got map markers. Take this road to get to Dalaran. There's a crater
there. Yeah. And man. That's scary.
The Dalaran you're looking for is in another zone.
Dalaran you want is in another castle. Enjoy. Oh my god, can you believe if you went to old Dalaran? And there's literally just like a stand-in for Toad that just says that to you.
I feel like you have to encounter that in Ungoro Crater, where it's all Nintendo references anyways.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I feel badly now. I really feel like this was what was missing from WoW the entire time. I wish that there was that. I need Toad, and I need more Princess Peach. If there's a Princess Peach reference, I'm very happy.
You need more Peach in your life?
Always!
I guess that tracks.
Anyway, we have been commiserating for a little while now, but I think that we were actually planning on talking a little bit since I went to a homebrew festival today.
Really?
A little bit.
Did you?
Yeah.
Have you only mentioned that 16 times?
Now 17, and thank you for getting us up to 18, Alex. Now that we've done that, I'm going to talk a little bit about actually homebrewing on this episode. Which we've talked a little bit about on the show once or twice. Once or twice. Not too many times. People who catalog our show will actually be able to tell us how many times we talked about homebrewing. I think that we've done a couple episodes on it.
A couple, maybe.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I think we've touched on it in a few episodes, but not necessarily outright discussed it. Do you remember that? I think some modification required. I believe was an episode that we did that was about homebrewing. But even though we've touched on it occasionally, we haven't outright talked about it in quite some time. And I do happen to know that we have a couple people on the show right now. We have DC and we have James, and they're familiar with a little bit of homebrewing. I've actually been in games with both of them, and they've done some homebrew scenarios. Not necessarily homebrewing some rules, but yes, I have actually played with both of you, with you running the show, which is good because it's much better than me running the show.
Yes.
And so you're a little bit familiar with homebrewing. But yeah, I'm kind of interested in that whole process. I have had a really difficult time looking at a system and saying, how do I modify this to make it work for me? And
That can be tough.
so it's not just a me thing. It's just a general thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some systems are harder than others, for sure. Like anything that's rules is gonna be. That's part of why I homebrew rather than try and modify other systems.
Okay.
Like D&D 3.5 or Pathfinder are going to be almost impossible just because of how rules dense they are. Knowing exactly what to do to change is going to be tough.
Like to change a system? No. No.
I mean, largely, excuse me. Largely, I don't worry about it. I'm just like, I want to do this. What's the best way I can do it? Okay, we'll try this. And like, I'm going to the next campaign I want to run. It'll be D&D 5th edition, and eventually my players will be stuck in a 2D fighting game scenario. And so I'm working out how to do that. So they'll be in like a final fight or a double dragon type thing.
Oh, yes. I am so there for that. I like this so much. I have not been playing D&D for a while, so I'm like, oh, final fight, sweet.
It's been a pretty long time since I played, but no, for 3.5, I definitely was very apt to changing rules for whatever reasons.
Curiosity, what were the rules that you most wanted to change when you created scenarios?
What?
Looking at 3.5.
Some of their tactical combat fucking rules are terrible.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, you're talking to somebody who's not familiar with really the difference between combat systems. So I don't know what you would actually change for tactical. One to another.
Well, I haven't played in a while, so I'm not, like,
Right.
remembering all the rules, but there are definitely stuff that I would ignore. Or just like, yeah, this functions differently because this makes no sense.
Right. Well, I know that, like, you used to run combat differently than standard rules were.
Yes.
It'd allow everything to have actions at the same time, essentially.
Heck yes, everything does happen at the same time. 6-second round. Everything happens all at once.
But, Alex, if I go first, that means that I kill the thing before it has a chance to react.
No, you act at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I
If you
can't say for D&D, but for Pathfinder, one of the rules that always I hated was, and I frequently ignored, was the limit on what spells you could have based on your ability scores. I always thought that was stupid. I'm like, I can see why from a flavor standpoint it works, but to limit a player by how powerful like they were in a specific stat, a specific mental stat, seemed very poor game design to me. Like, because that's not something you can control easily. So if you rolled a low intelligence, if you roll a low strength or dexterity, you can play a thief or a fighter, no problem. You're not going to be very good, but at least you can still play them.
Right.
But with spellcasters, you lose like half of your class abilities with a low spellcasting stat. And I always thought that was a terrible gaming decision.
See, I think it makes sense from a lore standpoint if you can't access certain spells due to a low stat, only because, you know, one spell might be harder to learn, for instance. Oh, but even then, you should be able to learn it, but possibly like not as effectively. Like I've definitely made it so that like my sorcerers, for instance, or wizards in games can pick up spells that are technically divine spells, but they have to train themselves how to use it. So like a sorcerer who is innate with magic, not just book learned magic, would have to go, cool, hey, can you like show me how to cast that? And then they have to like kind of experiment with the energies they're using and just be like, okay, cool. A sorcerer could do it and a bard could do it, but a wizard would have a lot tougher time doing it because it's all learned magic to them. And the bard and the sorcerer, for instance, are like, oh, cool, we have this innate magic ability, so I'm gonna figure out how to do this.
I always wanted to like multi-class multiple spellcasters. I always thought that was cool.
Can be, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the things that really happened to me is I have yet to try and be a spellcaster at all in D&D. And
you should go straight for bard.
No, I don't think I'm gonna do. I don't think I'm gonna do bard. No. No, part of me really. I had a fun character that I wanted to do, but he would be like a necromancer. So I'd have to be a wizard.
I still need to make a necromancer druid at some point.
Necromancer druid.
Yes.
Ooh, that's an interesting.
Well,
yeah.
The way I see it is they would keep the balance between life and death.
Oh, I can see that as being interesting. I just like the idea of being like a comically evil like necromancer as a character that just wants to take over everything, but is just not particularly good at it. I just like the idea of that. Sure. But I think that the thing that really bothered me about the ideas of spellcasters was how you have those different spell slots and that whole system. And I know that Alex, you had worked on an idea about like changing that out for a mana system. Like that was a possible like homebrew idea that you had talked about.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
Mm-hmm.
I have it written down somewhere.
I remember that you had posted it on some stuff, and that you had sent it out to some people about how you could change that whole system around from spell slots, generate over time.
Yeah, because then you would be able to actually not have to rest every time you expend 3 spells.
Yeah, that's annoying.
And I know 5e did a lot better with that, because they went, hey, we're going to make it so you can actually regain spell slots in certain ways.
Sure.
Like with warlocks, you only need a short rest to regain those spell slots. And I think there's some arcane points or something sorcerers or wizards have.
Yeah.
So 5e is a lot more forgiving in that sense, but it's still spells per day instead of like, oh, you have this pool.
Yeah, I know. That was always a thing that bothered me. Is like, and I play a monk, and I'm a shadow monk, so I do have some spells that are available to me, but I can do points regenerate automatically at a short rest, so I get them all back. So it's not a huge deal for me to cast stuff. Looking at like what it takes for like dedicated spellcasters to do that, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, "Oh my god, I can't. I don't want to have to track all that. how I get them back? How I do anything?
It's not that hard, really. But plus, you have cantrips that you can use You know,
Yeah, the
whenever.
cantrips are awesome.
Yes, when they
The
made the
cantrips make
cantrips take
good.
you can use them indefinitely. It's really good, especially
Yeah.
considering Warlock, for instance, has one of the best attack cantrips I think in the game.
Yeah.
Eldritch Blast is just
Eldritch Blast, yeah.
ridiculous.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Eldritch Blast is really powerful.
Yeah,
I'm in a few games right now. We have a club at school that's really good.
I have a club in my bedroom. How cool! Different types of clubs, obviously. Mine's a beat stick.
God damn you. Why, Alex? Why?
Sorry, I'm full puns. You're the drunk one. I'm just full puns.
God. Well, I have to be because Paul isn't here, so I have to make up for lost time.
Anyways, we have uh, RPG club that I'm in, and one of the characters I'm running is a half-elf monk who has taken a vow of silence.
Oh.
Nice.
Um,
I hope you could just call him
so
a hunk. Honestly, not gonna lie.
he is something of a hunk. He's not poor looking by any stretch of the imagination. Um, and he communicates using hand gestures, and my entire party is terrified that I'm not going to be able to communicate with them, and they're not going to know what my name is. Like, that's their biggest concern, is I'm the monk that doesn't talk, and they don't know, they're worried about not knowing what my name is. It amuses me mildly.
Now, how do you actually, if you have a character that has taken a vow of silence? I mean, good thinking, because it means that you don't have to worry about a character voice. Good thought.
Yes.
How does your character that's taken a vow of silence actually interact with the world?
How would they know?
How does it communicate with
I assume
other?
I'm going to be describing a lot of stuff in the third person.
Yes. Okay.
And he also has a chalkboard and he has a chalkboard and a piece of he has a chalkboard and a piece of chalk that he uses to like communicate complicated things. And also, he just stares people down when he's irritated.
That works.
Just use your hands and throw them.
Yeah, that also works too.
Yeah.
Communicate with the world.
If you really wanted to get into it, you could actually learn sign language, and then.
Oh, that's a good deep cut.
Not drow
And you'd
sign
learn
language,
an extra
though.
skill. So.
Yeah,
That would be kind of cool.
Force your party members to learn how to talk to you.
Yeah, force all the other characters to learn how you do sign language, and then you're all set.
I mean, drow has drow sign language is a real language.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
the drow speak in sign language in the Underdark a lot of times for like combat purposes.
Is that because a lot of them take a vow of silence, or?
No, it's because they're sneaky and evil.
Oh, okay, sure, all right.
Just waiting for a bear to spawn.
As Alex waits for another bear to spawn, haven't you learned your lesson with bears at this point? No? Fine. Yeah, so okay, sign language would be one thing. I like the idea that you could just talk in the third person. That would work too. Unfortunately, all the characters that I play have to be very vocal because that's how I have to interact with my
That's how
characters.
Nathan is.
Your voice, and I need to talk prolifically. So that's a problem that I usually have.
Talking prolifically.
Yeah, I'm realizing that everybody here has GM'd me at a certain point, and you're aware.
I've known you all my life. Yeah, you don't stop.
Everyone's aware. You get me into a party, it's like Nathan's not going to stop talking, is he? No. His okay. Everybody sit back and wait for him to be done. much my. That's pretty much how I operate. That's how I interact with the game. It's my curse. So yeah,
I'm on a moose.
isn't that nice for you? You're a moose that is on another moose. You should feel very proud of yourself. Yeah, I think the worst thing you could do to me is make me play a character that has a vow of silence. I'd be like, I'm not having fun now. I don't want to play this.
This isn't fun.
I hate this so much. Can I get my character killed off, please? Oh, boys, I can't emote.
These aren't real bears. They're
I don't-
inconspicuous bears, Nathan. They're your favorite kind.
Oh my God, inconspicuous bears.
I like these ones that are just sitting around the fire right here.
they're just hanging around a fire.
See these freaking bears? I'm gonna disrupt them.
You know what that is, Alex, is that they're part of the Country Bears Jamboree, and they're sitting around the fire waiting to play their banjos. hey, hey, don't go killing those country bears. No, no, Alex, don't do it. Wanted to do was entertain you with their magic music. Why are you doing this to them? Don't go killing those lovely country bears. Boring. Oh man, now I want to do a D&D campaign where all of the players are just members of the Country Bear Jamboree on tour.
This is why we don't have campaigns together, Nathan.
No, this is why the two of us can never do a campaign together. Record every time. Oh yeah, I'll sign up for that. The Alex won't, just because he's like, I don't want to play with Nathan. The two of us could not play in the campaign at the same time. But yeah. For me one time, way back.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that in some of the earlier podcasts. That's the one where you were in like a mausoleum or something.
Yeah, they were in a crypt.
You're in a crypt. Yeah, you're right.
I was like, you guys are starting in a crypt because I don't really want to start you in an inn. So good luck.
He cut through a lot of the narrative, and he was like, you know what, this is what happened. You were commissioned to do this job, and now you're in a crypt. So we're just gonna start you in the crypt. And I'm like,
I think
okay.
one of the hardest parts I ever have is coming up with a reason that the party's together.
Hmm.
And it's like, I know it's not necessarily just my thing to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, it's one of those hard things. Like, how do they know each other? Why are they together? Like, all right, we're gonna screw.
Oh yeah, I understand that. Yeah. A part of me feels like though that should be kind of on the shoulders of the players themselves to figure that out. I kind of feel like the party, and the reason why the party's together, kind of has to be in the hands of the party itself, like to figure out why.
But, like, it depends on the type of like quests and campaign and missions too. Like,
yeah,
one of the campaigns I did, the last real campaign I did, we had the party was together because they got pulled together and recruited by like the shadow government. And they were operatives for that. But it was like, how do we get them together? Oh, well, you're here to do this, and you're on a training mission to get to know each other and, like, learn how to work as a fucking unit. And that went over swimmingly.
Sounds like it. Sounds like everything went ducky. They tried to kill each other, didn't they?
May have had one character try to blind the other character completely because they thought they were useless and just a detriment to the party.
Perfect.
Which, in-game reasons, accurate. completely viable in game. I'm trying to figure out what this quest giver is
Right.
for this business.
Well, when it came to the campaign that I was playing, it was that literally all of our characters came from the same town.
we're everyone in that town. We're just gonna go off and die.
Well, the whole idea behind what Dom put together was that it was the Circlestone injustice, and we all came from Circlestone because Circlestone was supposed to be a community that was built around kind of more like the almost the outcasts, like the people that didn't really fit into normal society, the artistic kind of community too. And so it kind of made sense that we were not necessarily normal, but we, as kind of the adventuring party itself, were going to go further south in order to secure funding. And so that was what we were on. We were actually just on a mission to make sure that we could secure funding for like a new mill that we were building back at Circlestone. So we were all on that quest, and so that made sense to us. We were doing and why we were all together and why we all knew each other is that we just came from the same place. We were all originally from different places, but then we all came and congregated into this one town, and from there we had set off as a group. And so that made sense. And then one of our characters we met along the way, who was not originally part of our group.
The friends you made along the way?
We made along the way. Yeah. Which out of game was basically like Rachel was one of her players, and her husband Nick was much more versed in D&D, and so occasionally you would hear him in the background like explaining to her how to play the D&D, and eventually Dom was like, "You should just be playing the game with us." And so we found his character, and he ended up playing with us, and he's my barbarian halfling buddy now. That's fun. He decided to play that character. But the rest of us are all originally from Circlestone. So that was kind of the reasoning, the rationale of why we were all going there. We had an actual mission, and it was for the collective from. So that was the reason why we ended up going on the quest in the first place. But you know, if you want to be spies, you can be spies too. I'm not going to stop you. Maybe I will. I might stop you.
Might stop you, like an international spy, a man of mystery.
No, not like that. Not like that. Did you ever tell me what the reason was that we were all in that crypt at the same time, though?
Right now, you're supposed to do a thing. You guys did most of it, and you're supposed to like kill or get an item. I think you're getting an artifact.
Yeah, I don't really remember.
Oh, okay. So what happened was you were getting an artifact. You were sent there by this cleric that was like, "Hey, there's a holy relic that I need you guys to grab for me, like in the script." But the guy,
I remember this. Yeah.
your guide was the reason that you're unconscious. He went to read like a scroll, and it backfired, and he blew up a fireball in your face, and knocked you all out. He killed himself accidentally.
Mm-hmm. This sounds familiar. I also remember that toward the end of that session, I think one of us took a globe from a statue, and then the statues came to life.
Oh yeah, they were like cherubs or something, animated statues.
Yep.
Yep.
It's familiar.
Guardians or whatever you want to call it.
Kind of remember this, yes. Yeah. I mostly remember that I was a ranger, and that I was a really like buff ranger. I had like a really strong strength score for some reason, and I bisected a zombie at one point.
Yeah, I think you got a critical. I mean, it's been a number of years.
I managed to that one time. That was not what my character was supposed to be. My character was supposed to be like a long range fighter, and yeah, things got up close and personal. I had to go to town on this thing, on the undead.
I mean, on the fun part is you don't actually get crits on undead, but that's fine. Again,
I
rules
do.
that you ignore for reasons.
Oh, so that was that. So that's a rule in 3.5. You actually can't do crits on undead.
Yeah, they're immune to critical hits.
Well, that's pretty sweet. Why can't I just play an undead?
Depending what you're doing and what you have, you can.
Wanna be
Vampires are undead, for instance. I don't know. I
Oh.
don't remember if vampires are immune to critical hits.
If I end up being a necromancer, I want to be like an undead necromancer. If I'm an undead necromancer, I'm gonna be. I want to be a lich. Basically, I want to be a lich. Can I be a lich?
That would make you
Being a
very.
lich
That's a very, very powerful thing to be, Nathan. You're not gonna start as a lich.
why
with
not?
me, anyways.
Maybe I'm just like a lich in training.
A training lich. Yeah.
Tag that says, "Hi, my name is Lich," and I'm like a lich in training.
A lich trainee.
I'm I'm Kylo Ren going undercover on Starkiller Base. I'm Matt, the radar technician, but I'm a lich. What am I gonna do? Then would you allow me to be a lich?
Maybe.
Maybe if I wasn't a very good lich. I was bad at my job of being a lich. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
You.
Oh, Nathan.
We want to be a lich. I want to be a necromancer, but I also want to like live my truth of being undead at the same time.
You should just be an undead cleric. That's fine.
Could be an undead. No, I don't want to be a cleric.
A cleric of the undead.
A cleric, like out of the classes that you can be in D&D, cleric are like my two lowest priority ones.
Clerics can be really fun. You don't have to be like super crazy about it.
I am totally super crazy about cleric. I don't. The thing is that clerics are usually perceived of, at least, as a supporting character.
They're really
Support to
not.
what?
As opposed to the well, I'm a monk. I'm a I jump in and start smacking things character.
I mean, they're only a support if you only make them a healer. Or like
Okay.
taking care of
Yeah.
buffs.
Yeah, they have pretty good armor class, or they can get pretty good
They
armor class.
get to wear
and
heavy
good
armor. They can wear
weapons.
melee weapons.
Oh yeah,
You know, sword and shield if you want them to. They can tank it up really good.
fair enough. Fair enough. I'm just saying that it's in terms of an outsider perspective, a cleric usually seems like just like a healer support class. I don't know how they get out of that stigma of being that, but as far as I can see, that's usually what I think of when I think of a cleric, as being the one that's going to buff the party, but not necessarily go ahead. At the same time, one of the characters in my group is a cleric and ends up doing a lot of damage. So I know better, but at the same time, I just don't. I'm like, maybe that's the rarity. That's like exception to the rule, not necessarily the rule itself.
I mean, the last cleric I played was actually a battle cleric who had dual wield proficiencies.
Let's see, dual wield's pretty great.
So I
like,
had 2 battle axes.
really? Oh, okay.
Ooh, that sounds incredible.
It would have been had my DM not sucked. I retired the character because they were trying to pull me away. I didn't want to be. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to make another character. He's going to stay in town here.
He's gonna stay in town here, and
Like, he's going to open up a church here because these people need some help.
and maybe he'll cut down a lot of trees with his battle axes.
That was that one GM that had a god complex, and I was like,
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm done. Bye.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I mean the cleric that we actually had for that party was pretty great because he would make a spiritual sword all the time. Because all of a sudden you just have like another sword, like an ethereal sword that's just like slashing away. All of a sudden, and it's like, oh, you just basically created like another character for us to fight. That's just a new thing. He did guiding bolt a lot.
I'll guide your bolts.
Yeah. Guiding bolt. That then it gives advantage on your next attack. I usually didn't need it, but have for whoever utilizes it. I didn't usually need it because if I was shadow stepping or something, I automatically got advantage.
There you go, you ninja.
I was a ninja. Yeah. It's especially great if like a Shadowfell dragon comes down and you shadow step onto its back.
I mean, yes.
And then you have advantage on that first attack anyway. And of course, the first attack, I'm like, I'm going to do a stunning strike. And I stun the Shadowfell dragon in combat. And then taunt him while he can't talk. He can only slur his words. Happened. And it's fun because you get to hear the GM kind of going, "Oh god damn you." Damn you and your stunning strike. Why? Yeah, you can throw the biggest thing you want at me, but if I can successfully pull off a stunning strike, you're screwed.
Stunning strike is really, really good.
It's surprisingly good. Like and it's great because when you throw a big bad at me, wow, this is gonna be like a boss fight. And I try stunning strike, and you know the enemy fails at doing their saving throw. Like, okay, so news for you: your giant monster that you were throwing at us is stunned, and let me tell you what that means. and then you go over what that actually means, and you're like, oh crap. That is so bad. Okay, well, I can't attack, can't move, I can't talk, I can't do anything. And you have advantage on all the strikes. Oh, and you can't do saving throws against spells. Okay.
Saving throw.
Sorry, you can't say you automatically fail saving throws for dexterity. It's like, well, that sucks for you because we have at least 2 spellcasters that can do lightning strikes on you. It's gonna suck real bad. Sorry. So I did that on a few of the the big bad characters that came in. Like one was I think a troll, and then the other one was a Shadowfell dragon and something like that. And that pretty much screws up a GM's plans real fast. Real fast. I'm really happy that I was a monk. People underestimate the monk. Never underestimate the monk.
Monks are
the
really,
monk will make. Yeah.
really.
The monks are great. Unless you're a GM. If you're a GM, monks suck. If you're a player, monks are great. With several people, I think, at this point. But I think when I talked to Captain Sugar Bear, he was like, yeah, no, monks are fine to play, but as a GM, monks, because no matter what you throw at them, they're gonna be able to figure it out. You can't like throw them down a pit. You can't put a pit in their way. You can't do anything because the monk is going to have something that allows them, like they have slow fall, so it doesn't matter if there's a giant cliff for them to jump off of. There's just nothing that gets in their way. It's oh no, you have like a pond full of acid. Well, that's fine because if you've gotten to a level where you have like purity of body, it doesn't affect you. There's just like every step of the way, monks have something that just allows them to be the Swiss Army knife of D&D. Yeah, you have a problem? That's fine. Monks got it solved. It's cool. We're good. Like playing as a monk. That's my favorite part about it. I like being the Swiss Army knife of the party. I like when you're like, oh, how are we ever going to get out of this? And I'm like, shadow step. Foop! I'm out.
Bright lit area, no shadows, or you shadow step and there's a fucking guy there that's gonna eat you.
That I had a real option that we were in like a really bad place, and me and one of my companions was in a basement. There were these kids that were really, really creepy down there, and it turned out that they were like evil monsters that were disguising themselves as kids.
That sounds terrifying.
It was not fun, and I was actually scared for my life. Because, well, the whole thing that happened with that scenario was occasionally, like, we were out late one night trying to do some recon on this mysterious group of, like, gray-cloaked characters. And, then all of a sudden, like, the town guard come by, and and we're like, we gotta cheese it out of here. And we had made off with like one chest. My halfling barbarian that's very interested in getting into spaces he's not supposed to.
As halflings do.
As halflings often do, yeah. So him and my giant turtle monk are like trying to get out of this whole area. And throughout this entire time, occasionally there was this little girl who would come up to us and like tug we had met her a couple times, and she would be like, my sister's sick, my sister's really sick, and she was kind of odd. Oh, you know what, I'm gonna take this opportunity. We need a place to kind of like hide out and figure out what's in this chest. Why don't you take us to your sister, and maybe we can figure out what's wrong with her, and at the same time we can check out this chest. Down into like this cellar, and it's got like paper all over the walls, like these strips of paper cloth that are like hanging down from the walls, and going through like one cellar area to another with these giant like iron doors. And I like cautiously am not interested in her coming after us, so I'm like, I insist that she keeps going through the doors before I do. So she keeps going through, and so the doors are still open. We keep going through a few, and then you start, like, in the corners, a lot of these other kids that are equally as creepy as her.
Oh boy.
And I'm saying, yeah. And so, like, the two of us are going through, and a part of me is like, lights. They need it to be very dark. I'm thinking to myself, okay, a part of me wants to just light a torch. And that's around the time that Dom was kind of like going, I will remind you, though, that there's all of these pieces of cloth that are on the ceiling. So if you light a torch in here, chances are it's going to set the whole place on fire. And I'm like, God damn it. I'm okay. I'll figure this out. Through a few doors.
But do I notice that these cloths are there?
Well, I do, because I had cast Dark Vision on myself, and also, well, I hadn't cast it on my barbarian friend yet, but I did later. But anyway, I could tell that it was there. Get through a couple doors, and she wants to take us into the next room, and I can tell that in the next room with my Dark Vision, there's like half a dozen at least more of these kids. And there's like some weird machinery in the corner, and it's like, okay, this is not right. This is not good. I don't like this at all. And so I'm like, what can I do? And I decide to take the chest that we caught, that we stole, at her. I just chucked this chest at the little girl, and he's like, "Check this." And it's around that time that she's like, "Okay, well, the illusion's off, and the glamour sort of goes away, and they're these kind of grotesque creatures, being hiding out low light environment." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Kind of figured that this is going to be bad. So the whole time I kept asking Dom, like, so can I see the street? Thought was like, can you see street? And he's like, oh yeah. There are slats where you can actually see out into the street. Cool. And then I kept thinking to myself, like, there's an easy way I can get out of here. That I can't get my companion out of here. I can't get my other team member out of here. If I just by myself needed to get out of here, I could just look out onto the street. It's an unoccupied space, and I could shadow step out immediately because it's night and it's unoccupied. So I should be able to just shadow step out. But I can't take my companion with me.
Oh.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna just leave him alone down here. So anyway, yeah, they start attacking me because of course they do. And we're able to cheese it through the first door, and we close the door behind us. And actually, he's a barbarian of like the ancestral guardian variant, so he had some ice magic that he could utilize. And he uses the door shut. Just enough time to actually get out because we didn't let them close any of the other doors behind us. So we were able to get out onto the street. And then, of course, what as I was telling Alex in one of our previous episodes, then I get the town guard, and I tell the town guard that, hey, I think I saw some of those gray cloaked figures that you were looking for before. They took a chest evidence, and they took it down into that cellar, and I kind of tricked them into going down there and killing all of the monsters. And I got half of them killed. But the thing is the point is, I fixed the problem. I fixed the problem. And then the leader of the guards come back up, and she's like, that they were, and I'm like, well, I told you they were really creepy. Like, yeah, I guess you did. Okay. You didn't want me to elaborate, so I'm sorry. Just to help you with the dead, we'll come down and help you out with the dead, because we're nice like that. That whole incident like led to us getting back to the police station, where the rest of our party was already being detained and questioned. And I come into the same detaining room that the rest of them are in, and I'm like, oh, hey guys, how's your night going? They're like, not good. It's like, yeah, I understand how you feel. But then later, the ironic thing is that later, when we started to like devise plans about how we could actually deal with like the orcs that were invading our town, it became canon that I can actually transport people with Shadow Step. so I'm like, that my character could have done that before. I could have solved this problem so much easier. Because like the rest of the party is like, oh yeah, and then Rembrandt can just shadow step us in and out of my tiny hut that I made. So we could keep people safe in the woods. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's the thing I could do. Sure. I'm like, damn it, if I knew that I could take somebody with me every time, I would have just shadow stepped the two of us out of there immediately. this would have been so much faster and easier to do. But so I learned my lesson from there. Make it very clear what the parameters of your ability are to utilize them. So can do it again. I'd be like, okay, before I do anything, can I take people with me? If I can take people with me, I got a plan. I can get out of here real simple. The upshot is monks solve all the problems, so always make sure you have monks around.
No, I don't think I would.
Every single time. Played
Yeah, I
a
just got into a game where I'm playing a Dragonborn monk.
Oh, Dragonborn are fun. I want to do a Dragonborn cleric.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I really like the concept of being able to breathe fire. Kind of useful.
Yep. I hear you.
My Dragonborn breathed the line of electricity, so fire was no point for me. I themed my entire character around the fact it was elemental electricity, though. So instead of using Flame Blade as a druid, I used Lightning Blade.
Oh.
Because David was great and let me do that.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. Same effect.
When
just
I
instead
was
of-
talking
instead of fire,
about-
it was lightning.
When I talked to Chris Locke about Retroverse, he had done different variants on Dragonborn, like 6 different variants on Dragonborn that did variations, kind of like what you're talking about. As actually like variants on Dragonborn in the rule set.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think that there's a Dragonborn in Retroverse that's like a laser Dragonborn. And I'm like, yes. Can I have that now,
I
please?
would play with that.
Laser Dragonborn.
Laser sword.
fact-
Laser sword.
Yes. Actually, yeah. Or if you have laser eyes, I want laser eyes. Right there.
There you go.
How about a Dragonborn that breathes like magical damage?
Yeah, that's a thing that can happen too.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool. Like a
Yeah.
purple
An
Dragonborn.
arcane dragon or
Yeah.
Arcane dragon.
A force dragon.
Yeah.
So you force damage.
That is interesting though, DC, the idea of a Dragonborn monk, because then you get all the benefits of being a monk. You'll get some kind of elemental damage that you can do naturally.
Yeah, I chose brass, so I do breathe fire.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, fire is a pretty good catch-all for most problems that you have to deal with.
I find
Pretty much.
you typically don't encounter resistance to electricity nearly as often.
Oh, yeah?
Typically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
On a general case scenario, you're gonna find that
How
less
do you-
often. And
How do you deal with all those nasty forests?
forests,
Those nasty forests.
you cut the
Yeah.
trees down like a normal human or a normal person.
I just keep going back to that cellar where we had all of the cloth on the walls. It's like, yeah, fire handles that pretty well. Equipment and everything.
Yeah. I just like the classic Red Dragon, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
I want to
Mhm.
do a Dragonborn cleric that, like, his whole thing is, like, he comes from a place where his people believe that there's not gods, there's dragons that have become so old that they've just kind of merged the landscape and learned to, like, communicate telepathically with their people. And so, like, that's his whole thing, is he is, like a scion of one of these dragons or whatever that are super old, and his whole thing is he goes out and finds other Dragonborn that believe these things and, like documents all the different dragons.
Hmm.
Uh,
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, technically, as long as the DM's cool with it, you can
Yeah.
pretty much do whatever you want with a character.
it wouldn't be like negating the other deities as much as like that's his personal belief system. So he doesn't really
Okay.
have a deity, so to speak.
Right.
Right? Because like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like throw everyone else's like gods out
All
the
right.
window. It's just like there's a different one that exists, I guess.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, it's odd because I don't think I've ever really thought too much about playing a Dragonborn as a race for D&D.
They're fun.
The yeah. Actually, the one that I was considering when I was thinking about making a different kind of monk character, like I was talking about in one of the last episodes, was actually an Aarakocra
What's
because
an
I like the idea of being a bird that can fly. I'm like
Yeah.
I'm cool
that's
with that.
cool.
Yeah, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to play a Way of the Sun Soul monk because then I'm like, oh my god, now I'm a sunbird. I'm like a flying character that can throw down rays of light at people. I'm cool with this. I want that character.
Hey Nathan, just for the
About that.
record, from
Yeah.
earlier when we were talking, since we've been on and I've been playing, I've already gone from level 27 to 31.
What are
Wow,
you
that's pretty
playing?
cool.
Remind me.
Playing World of Warcraft.
Ah, the classic came out a few days ago, and it's supposed to be right.
Couple weeks ago now. People have already
Yes,
beat the
he's
game.
not. He's yeah. Well, they've maxed out their level.
They've beaten Ragnaros.
Yeah,
We went over this.
yeah. Which is, fine. I, I. The thing about it is, though, for me, WoW in general is not like a game you ever beat.
I mean, they beat the end raid boss for the original game already, so...
Which I suppose is as close as you can come, but like,
I mean, they beat Onyxia too, so, I mean, it wasn't just Ragnaros.
right. But just in general, like, as I think, and at the end of the day, it was the problem that I had with MMOs in general, is that, like, there's never really a ending to it. There is an ending to a story, but you're never really supposed to reach an end point
Yeah.
where you're just done. And I was like, I never like to get to the conclusion of an RPG, but at the same time, I like to know that it's there. And like I could play KOTOR for as many hours that they would afford me, but I like to know that there's actually an end to that game. And Fallout, same thing. Like I could play that for hundreds of hours if you gave me the option, and I would not necessarily want to get to the end, but I like the idea that there is a definitive ending. Me like go like, oh, I know that there is an actual conclusion to this, and I think the thing that kind of took me away from MMOs in general was that I really one thing that mobile games was the idea that, oh yeah, there just isn't an end to this, to the end raid boss and everything, but it's not the end of this because there's just going to be another story at some point and supposed to end. And if it's never
Right.
supposed to end, I don't think that I'm ever going to really experience a true ending to it.
Mhm. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
I'm mildly familiar with MMOs, and like, it's like the story is there, but that's not why you play. I mean, that's the difference between that. Like, and that's just my opinion. And then there's nothing wrong with that. It's like I don't play an MMO for necessarily for the story. I play it for the mechanics and like the role play, the system and the gameplay, not necessarily for the story,
Oh,
which I think is a little bit different.
I play WoW because of the story, but I also happen to really enjoy the gameplay too, so...
Right, right. You've also made friends. I see that you've made some friends there.
Some.
They're well, they're hanging. You got some other characters hanging around you. So
Those aren't my friends. Those are quest people. Those are
you have a
actually.
bunch of quest people that are hanging around.
Those aren't even good people. I'm gonna have to kill them later in Shadowfang Keep.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
they basically go crazy in Renegade.
so I should not get too attached to them. Is
No.
what you're saying?
I mean, if you played the
Okay.
Worgen starting area, they're jerks anyways.
Yeah.
When they were like humans, and now they're just as bad being undead.
Okay. That's fair. I do say that you have some interesting like crocodile creatures around, and I'm totally there for them. So that's fun. I was interested in battling crocodiles.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I love battling crocodiles. Plus, if you defeat the crocodiles, you get to take their skin and wear it as a hat. I need a crocodile hat. Um, in the other game that I was playing, we were going down river, and we got accosted by were they crocodile? Yeah, they were crocodiles, and they took my damn stun staff, and I was angry. Um, but luckily the rest of the crew were able to kill off all of them, and use the skins to cure. And now I can make some lovely shields out of the crocodile hides. So I'm working on that. Little task for me to do.
There you go.
Upgrade my craft armor skill, because I need to do that. Yeah, if you're not familiar with I'm going to take a wild stab and say probably no one here is very familiar with like Earth Dawn or similar systems to that. But if you are familiar with like an Earth Dawn from FASA, the system that I'm playing in the other game that I'm doing is 1879, and that kind of takes a similar stance to it. And so what you have to do in that game is you get a series of skills, and some of them are your core skills, some of them are your optional skills, and some of them are your free skills. The core skills are the ones that if you actually use them, start to put checks on them, and if you get enough checks, you can actually raise its level. With that and some of your adventure points, which are sort of like your experience points, but you actually utilize them specific things with your character. It's not like you just get so much experience and then ding, you raise a level. It doesn't work like that. You gain adventure points and then you can utilize them, raise either your stat points or your skills or stuff like that. So you get a few of those, and you actually utilize those skills, and you can raise up your core skills. If you're able to raise your core skills up to like level 2, actual like aptitude essentially it goes up to level 2, because you've now raised your essentially your rank up because your core skills are now raised up at the same time. So in that system, like I started to realize one of my core skills was crafting armor, and I haven't done much to craft armor. so one of my team members was like, "You might want to start doing that because that's going to take a little bit of time." Like, all right. Well, we got these crocodile hides that we worked on. Yeah. Here, go ahead and take them, and then you can start making some shields, and that will raise up your armor skill. Because, like, yeah, that's probably going to be the hardest one for me to actually get marks in. So I'm working on doing that just so that I can actually raise my rank at some point. But it's a strange system just because there's several different you can go through. There's ranks, but there's also your like skill level and your profession level. So you can try to work on any of those specific things, because like you could technically have somebody that's a profession level master and somebody who's a profession level novice, but they've worked on other things, then they can be about the same power level. So it's just about how you want to delineate out your points and your skill levels to get a hold of how that whole system works. similar to Earth Dawn, and Earth Dawn's an old RPG from back in the day. That's back. It's back, baby. In case you're wondering.
Oh, can I go back to endings and things like that real quick?
Sure.
Speaking of MMO endings, I had another thought on Oninaki, is that it was interesting just enough to play through to the ending. There are some games where I've played and I had to stop because life or whatever, and I just don't go back to. Like the most recent Dragon Quest game. I started that, and then I haven't gone back to it, and I'm not caring to.
Right. Yeah, you said Oninaki has like what, 3 endings?
Yeah.
Okay, that reminds me a little bit of Nier, if you've ever played Nier. Because
I know what you're talking about. I haven't played it.
Played Automata. I do want to play it at some point. I played the original Nier. Nier had like 4 endings. And the thing is, I never ended up playing the 4th ending because, and I guess this is similar to Automata, is the last ending also erases your save file, so you have to.
All right.
No, they're not screwing around. When it comes to that, it's like in order to do this, you literally have to make a sacrifice. The sacrifice is you have to sacrifice all of the data for your playthrough in order to do the final, like, reel of the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, they're like no, this is like literally you have to feel like there's an actual sacrifice that you're making. In Automata, apparently what happens in the last playthrough is one of the last endings, you get to the credit scene, and you're playing like almost like this asteroids mini game where your little ship is going across your little triangle, shooting the bad guys, and then you're joined by all of these other ships. And it turns out that all these other ships are actually other players that sacrificed their playthroughs so that they would be available to come and help you in this last stand against
wow.
the boss. Right. And so at the end, you get to make the choice. Do you want to end up being one of those? And you have to sacrifice everything that you've done throughout this very, very long game that has had multiple endings and that has very long quest lines. Sacrifice basically your save game in order to be one of those ships that comes and helps you for another player down the road.
Oh wow!
And it's like oh god, no! Don't make me do this.
Yeah, I mean, Oninaki is
oh
a lot about death and
yeah.
life, and kind of what that means. It just doesn't stick the landing really well at any point about it. But the endings are, there's the bad ending, which then there's 2 other which are sort of the good endings, but they're equally depressing. So
oh, fun. I mean, I heard some press around it, and they were like, it's a great looking game, and it's an interesting game. It just has that thing where it's there's a lot of potential that didn't necessarily get met.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And I don't remember what the studio had done previous to that, but they were saying that similar to a lot of the other games that the studio's produced. It's in that kind of vein because they do a lot of these kinds of games. It feels like they've done a good job, and it's overall a good experience. It just feels like there could have been a lot more to it, and it's unfortunate that they didn't quite get there. But I mean, the art style alone was what kind of sold me on it. I like that.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful, and the music is great as well.
Yeah, I had heard like on that, like on sound design and on graphic design, great. But yeah, maybe the deeper mechanics not quite as great. But yeah, definitely on design. That's good. So I'm glad to hear though that overall though, did you find it enjoyable? Are you glad that you played it?
Yeah, I mean, if I was doing like a letter grade, I'd say like a B minus. Just
Okay.
better than average.
Yeah. B minus isn't anything to shirk.
No, it's good. It was good, but there was a lot of room for improvement. There could be a lot more good. Like I said, the controls. It was just like someone needed to take a screwdriver and turn that screw an extra, degree or whatever, and they could have been really tight.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's always it is a slightly deflating feeling when you find a game that's like, oh, this is great, but oh, it could just be a teeny bit better if they just did a couple things, and it's just not there.
And some of the story, I'm just like, wait, why did I do this then? And how do I know this? The great thing is, though, if you get lost in the story, if you go to where you save the game, it gives you a little, here's where you're going next. And
that's handy.
Okay. So I didn't really have to read anything. You would just tell me where I'm going.
Yeah. That's incredibly handy. I haven't done a video on it yet, but one of the games that I played recently is called Outward, and I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with it, but the whole conceit of the game was that, imagine if you had like a fantasy realm storyline, but you were just like an average dude, just like a regular person in this world. You're not the Dragonborn, you're not the Chosen, you're not anything like that. You're just
the Dragonborn, the Chosen one.
Can't be in Outwards, okay, dude? You can't do that. You're just like at the start of the game. They basically throw you in and they say, your ship got wrecked. You get back to your town. Your family owns this lighthouse, and guess what? You're in debt. You got to figure out a way to pay off this debt. You're not a hero. You don't have any special skills or anything like that. Figure it out. And so you end up going on the quest line specifically just to figure out how to make money. And the thing that was, and I was like, oh, well, this is kind of interesting, the way that they presented all that information. But the thing that ultimately got to me was sort of similar to what you were saying, DC, about how like they say, hey, here's where you go and this is what you do. Outward doesn't do that. And instead, they basically throw you into this world and without any idea of what you're doing at any given time. And so I had to get used to the fact that, like, map, it doesn't show you where you are on the map. But there's a map.
Okay.
and I was really confused. Especially because when you get to certain areas where you're like, oh, okay, so I guess I look at the map and I figure out where I am based on, like, landmarks.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at, like, in this one area that you go to, because there's a few different areas you travel to. You get to this one area, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm staring at a windmill. That sounds easy. Okay, so I'm going to look on the map and figure out where the windmill is, and I'll know kind of, like, where I am on the map. There are 2 windmills listed on the map. Opposite sides of the map. Tell you where I am right now. I don't know if I'm on the south end of the map or the north end of the map. And it's not going to tell you where you are, and you can't do waypoints. I can't supposed to go. And I can't fast travel at all. Do is run to the destination I have. And if for some reason I fall in combat, and then something happens, and usually it means I'm going to end up in a completely new part of the map that's also going to confuse me completely, because now I'm even more lost than I was before. So this was like the struggle that I had the entire time I was playing. Like, oh my god, be able to track where I am going at any given time. Please let me do that. No? Okay. It was one of the biggest problems that I had with that game. In order to get from like one hub to another major trade hub, it took me like 30 minutes of basically just trying to hoof it from one
wow.
place. And I was like, dude, there's such a thing as too realistic, because there's something about this that doesn't actually feel realistic. I kept thinking to myself, like, this is a world where you have trading hubs where there are boats and there are caravans. No public transportation I can take from one city to another. Are you telling me that that's not a thing? It's like so much of what you're trying to do to make this an epic RPG is just like, if it weren't for the fact that I had to run literally freaking everywhere to get anywhere at all, this really wouldn't feel nearly as big. And I feel like that you just did this so that the game would feel bigger. I really swear that you just did this so that the game would feel longer and bigger. If I could actually just fast travel to places like Skyrim, this would not feel nearly as big as it is. And you start to realize that comparatively to some of those game worlds, it's not nearly as large, even with multiple areas that it has. And boy, howdy, I would have really loved for it to just tell me at some point what the hell I'm supposed to do, because it is bad at that. Time. I mean, I had to commend it for trying something really new and innovative. Like, you don't level up at all in the game. Your stats don't improve. What really gets you anywhere is if you train to improve some of either your passive stats or your active stats, and that just means you need to have money. So basically, you accrue money. You're gonna get some skills that improve your character. But there's no leveling or anything like that. And I was like, oh, okay, some of the stuff is interesting. Or that you have to throw your backpack down on the ground if you want to be able to dodge in combat. Like a big backpack on.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to be able to dodge very well if you have the backpack on. So, but you can also just like toss the backpack on the ground. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not going to do that. So if I fall in combat or something, now my backpack is wherever I left it. And if you then throw me onto another part of the map, I'm not going to remember where my backpack is. So I'm not going to do... I'd rather my backpack just come with me the entire time, because then I'll just be able to pick it up and keep moving. The funniest part, though, upward. And I loved that. I got killed by a couple bandits the first time I left the first town.
Oh, wow.
I left the first town, and these two bandits like accosted me, and I was like, oh no, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I literally have a fishing spear to use for my weapon, and I'm like trying to poke them, and they got me, and I went down, and then there's a loading screen, and this ancient alien creature back to their house, their little cave house. It had a chest full of gear that was better than the gear I already had. And then they taught me a lovely skill that I didn't have before for free. I died, and somehow I improved my character. But here's where we are. That was the part where I'm like going, something about this, for the amount of realism they're trying to put in. Yeah. Yeah, waypoints are great, and telling you exactly what's going on is great. I really wish that particular game did that. Did not do that. Yeah. But I'm glad to hear that Oninaki had that in place. But anyway, so I'm gonna check in real quick with Alex here.
Oh, you just missed Sylvanas die and then gets resurrected.
Is Sylvanas with you right now?
Yes. Ooh, look, an epic upgrade for that. Nice.
Yeah. See, the whole tale of Sylvanas, I think I've missed a lot.
She's wild. She cray cray.
Sylvanas is cray cray.
A little. I mean,
Sylvanas.
she's gone a little crazy this expansion.
I like Sylvanas when I played Warcraft 3.
I mean, yeah, she was cool right up until the time she burnt Teldrassil, and then committed atrocities.
Oh, you got to do what you got to do. That's 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 my lesson that I take away from that.
Yeah, well, you know,
No,
don't trust the undead. What?
don't trust the undead.
And don't trust anyone.
You should absolutely trust the undead. The undead are your friends.
Sometimes.
Necromancer. If you're a necromancer.
Yeah, I mean, then they're friends and family.
Are you in the undead lands right now?
I'm in
It looks
Silverpine,
like.
so yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I know. I just saw some like big undead zombie things, and I was like, oh, I think he's in that part of the map now. I think he's in that area.
Yes.
Yeah, those are good. Let's go. I actually like playing an undead.
I don't.
fun.
I don't mind them.
Don't mind the undead. They're fine. They're cool.
They're okay. There's some better looking things. They're kind of gross looking sometimes. Their passives aren't terrible.
I think I was a spellcaster when I played an undead.
I don't remember.
I don't know if I was part of the guild in that with that character.
I don't know. I'm not even in a guild right now.
That's good. No one wants to play with you anyway.
I know.
So
That's why I'm not in a guild. Tell me things I already know, Nathan.
So you're not. So do you ever end up talking to the people that were part of our old guild?
That's for like 2 guilds ago. I have no idea.
That's 2 guild till. Well, it doesn't limit your ability to actually communicate with people. You could still talk to people even if you're not necessarily.
Yeah, most of them don't play anymore. That's all.
Oh, that's probably the reason the guild isn't around. It was a good guild. A few people that were part of. Yeah, there were a few people that were part of that guild that were willing to go on raids with me at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeehaw.
Here, guys, we're gonna go on a raid. All right, whatever. Let's go for it. But, man, keep rolling.
Yep.
Is there really a motorcycle that you're on?
Yeah.
My goodness.
So I'm a motorcycle.
It's back. I lost James for a minute.
Sorry, I clicked the wrong. I accidentally closed out of Discord by accident.
I accidentally
Oh.
Discord.
It wasn't intentional.
Sure, it wasn't intentional. Sure, you say that now.
It was 100% not intentional.
Well, actually, while you're here though, I do want to do our classic segment from our live episodes that I just started like last session.
Oh boy.
But the hey, what's everyone playing right now? And I'm gonna start with James. James, what are you playing right now? What are you doing?
Depends on. Right now, I'm playing Magic: The Gathering.
Perfect.
I like to mess around with commander decks from time to time and just chill.
Fair enough. Yeah. What's your favorite color? If you had to pick one of the 5 colors, what's your favorite color?
Really dark red, like almost like a dark blood red. And my
Okay.
quest, in case anyone was wondering, was to get a degree and start a small business back home. So
Oh, nice. Nice.
that was a joke, by the way, in reference to
No way.
spam a lot.
No, it's not in reference to Spamalot. It's in reference to
Not
Monty
spam a lot.
Pythons.
Yeah. Whatever that movie is called.
That movie.
Holy Grail? Yeah. And the Holy Grail. But okay. So is your actual favorite color red or black? It sounds like it's a dark red. In terms of magic, I should say in terms of magic.
MTG. Oh, I thought you were talking about like personal things. No, I am
No.
a teamer. Personally, I prefer green over both of them. I like both blue green and red green, and blue red green is okay.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
a red, green, white that I really enjoy.
Mm. Yeah.
Commander-wise, I'm playing Molthrata,
Yeah.
and she's one of my favorites of all time. But in general, I play blue and green and red. Those are my
Okay.
three.
Okay. Yeah. I had a deck that didn't necessarily win many battles, but it did. It was so stubborn that you could stay and play for a really long time, which was blue white. So it was mostly just like screwing up your opponent and just giving you so much life that it was almost impossible to take you down. That was pretty much my thing. And then, but the one that I actually did anything with was a pure black deck. Because it was very heavy on like soul siphons and such.
Oh yeah, those are great.
So yeah, the idea that I would just continually because I think I had that and I think I had Cabal coffers.
Yep.
Oh,
I would just try to create as much mana as I possibly could, and then just do like a bunch of soul siphons and just use all the mana that I had available, and just siphon off tons of their life directly, and just siphon it right into me. Now it's mine. Sorry.
You know, my black-red deck was probably better than your black deck.
Yeah. Whatever.
one of my favorite decks that didn't win very much but was fun to play was based on a newer card. I don't remember what she's called. The Primal Hunger, whatever she is.
Oh,
You know who I'm talking about, maybe?
not really. Of course, I haven't played Magic for a little while, so I'm not necessarily familiar with some of the new stuff. But
It's let me see if I can. The concept, she's a 12/12 that with trample that acts less to cast, where each is acts as the total power of creatures you control. Her name's Galta. She drops for 12, but usually I'd get her out much cheaper. The whole concept was to get her as powerful as possible, or I get her out, and then I'd have cards that would double the amount of damage any source would do. And then I would fling her at people.
Yeah.
So it would be an instant kill. It was so satisfying because the concept was I was just, and especially in multiplayer games, I would have it swing over, and then the flavor was that I would grab her by the tail and throw them into another person, and it was just satisfying because it was a weird win condition.
Yeah. That's fun though. That's fun. I think my go-to was I would do a Deathwind. Once I could cast that, I was in good shape.
I don't know if
And,
DC's actually watching me play right now.
Yeah.
But the quests right now, if you've been reading these are ridiculous and amazing. Hillsbrad has become just a ridiculously fun zone.
What is this?
What?
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really fun. You're handing out quests to 3 of the most stereotypical kinds of players.
Oh,
That
Well-
sounds actually kind of fun.
They're not real players, obviously, but the point
Yeah.
is, like, oh man,
oh,
Orcus.
this is.
Orcus is fun.
Yeah.
You find
Oh,
him.
this.
You find him, and he's actually drowning in a puddle.
It's great.
Yeah, this is
This
Johnny
reminds-
Awesome.
MMORPG FPS, the quest line from Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, where where you where you have to get credit for killing the raid boss character, but there are these 3 other players that are supposed to be there that are like esports 6999 and you have to defeat them by humiliating them enough that they like rage quit out of the game so that you can complete the quest. That was in Borderlands too. Esports. And it's like you have to teabag him like 3 times when you kill him in order for him to go away. and you have to just defeat these three characters in order for to actually defeat the raid boss, because otherwise you're not allowed to. That was a fun quest. It was specifically because it's like they were totally making fun of the idea of the typical characters that you end up playing. As far as Magic goes, though, yeah, my thing, we actually played. Alex might remember this. Do you remember when we were actually at but we were at somebody's house and we were playing like a 3-on-3 team battle for Magic?
No.
Anyway, we did, but you might not remember it. But there was this one point where I'm like, crap. I don't want to have to do this to my own team members, but I guess I'm gonna have to. We're like 1 person down, and Alex's team was doing pretty well, and I was like, crap. Sorry guys, I have to do this because I know it's going to affect my other team member pretty well. And I did a Deathwind, and I threw that down. And Deathwind basically kills off the creatures that you do not control instantaneously. So it ended up killing off my team members' characters too. So all of his monsters were gone, but mine were still alive. And I think it's around that time that I was like, cool, Phage the Untouchable. I had Phage out, and I'm like, who do I want to kill this round? And so I think I had the highest life totals, and I was like, okay, you're dead. Wait for him coming back. Luckily, my team members forgave me because they were like, yeah, no, you're probably going to be able to run this for the rest. You're going to be able to run the clock out for this. Yeah, no, Deathwind and Phage as a combo is dangerous. Don't take that
Sounds
light.
about right.
Alex will love to tell you, though, the story about damage of killed me
That was fun.
with my own Phage.
Backlash is fun.
Yeah, you did the backlash, and since Phage, if Phage does direct damage to a player, they automatically lose the game. My Phage's own damage ended up killing me.
Yep.
So
That's why my black-red deck is better than your black deck.
Them's fighting words, boy.
That's true. It's true. Mine's all
Now
about
I
killing
gotta see if-
creatures and making them deal damage to you. Green decks don't like me.
But now your Reflect, though, that was a blue spell.
What?
Your Reflect was a blue spell,
What reflects?
not reflected the damage
No,
back
I
at
made your
me.
phage attack
Blue-
you.
Blue spell. That wasn't a red
No,
spell.
it was a black spell.
Really?
Yes, that's a
I
black red deck with no blue in it.
think that was a blue deck. I really think that was a blue deck.
So I know you guys used to play WoW. Used to way long ago. South Shore kind of got destroyed.
Yeah.
In Terran Mill, a little bit dead, very destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all plate now. There you go.
Oh, well, that's fun. That's fun for it. So James mostly playing Magic right now. Anything else that you're tooling around with?
I've been doing a little bit of Terraria, but
Oh, really? How is that
yeah,
going for you?
pretty good.
Yeah. I
It's
tried a little bit of Terraria. I couldn't quite get into it. What do you like about it, though?
I've always been a modder. Like that's something I enjoy doing.
Hmm.
Um, so I I do a lot of that, and I like how much like the system. It feels like Minecraft but 2-dimensional. I like that because I love Minecraft, but like the 3-dimensional stuff kind of screws with my head a little bit. Um,
Okay.
so that's always just been nice and fun that the 2-dimensional stuff that goes on in it.
Right. Right. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Sometimes I like the action adventure style games, but I do often yearn for like those 2D side scrolly kind of games, and so Terraria feels like the analog to Minecraft of that, like
Yeah.
the 2-dimensional like side scrolling adventure. A while I was having a little bit of trouble trying to figure out how to do stuff in the game. It wouldn't accept my inputs the way I wanted it to when I was building stuff, and
Oh,
I
I
was
hate
like,
that.
yeah, and I was like, okay, I understand you want me to build a door here, but I can't like now there's like a pit right next to where the door is, so how do I get to where the door is supposed to go? I don't know what you want me. I don't know what you want from me, game. Doing this. So stuff like that. But I can't tell you. I can't say that there was anything necessarily about Terraria that was a complaint I would have that I wouldn't have leveled against Minecraft anyway. In terms of its general functionality, I was just like, oh, okay, this is a different kind of buildy, miney game. And but I liked the concept. I just couldn't quite get into it. I think I tried to burrow myself right into the middle of the world, and I ended up dying in lava a lot. Is pretty much what happened. But that's good. What kind of mods? Since you said that you were into modding, what kind
Um,
of mods?
man, I took a few days off just to take a break. I'd have to look. I've been doing. Let's see if I can. Like, what is it? Thorium is one I like a lot.
Okay. Okay. It's in
Um,
thorium. Okay.
Thorium. I like big mods that do a lot of crazy stuff. So things like Thorium, Calamity, stuff like that make the everything like big and interesting, I guess. Uh, uh, I liked um, what is it called? There's like an overhaul that it's called, yeah, that's what it's called. It's called Terraria Overhaul that basically revamps the system.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, different stuff like that.
Yeah. 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 That's neat. Okay. Yeah, the modding part is something that I never really got into, at least with Terraria. But I didn't really know it. Does it have specifically mod support, or do you have to kind of like code it
It
and get
you have
around it?
to, it's there is support for it. They have a system for it that gets updated every so often.
Hmm.
And I really like. I really like how the what is it that I like how it's simple and that system is simple to integrate. It's not like Minecraft where you have to go find everything. It's all in one place.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And it does do a little bit of a tutorial
Yeah.
at the start. It does a little bit of that, which Minecraft doesn't usually do. um, I think there is one scenario, one world that I played through just to kind of get my feet wet in Minecraft, where they do actually like lead you through the different steps and stuff so that you understand the basic controls. But if you just jump into it, no, they're not going to do that. Terraria though will outset,
Yeah.
so that's really handy. But that's good. So Terraria and Magic the Gathering, that's a good combination. I really wish that Magic the Gathering had like Terraria mods. That would be good.
That would actually be kind of cool.
That would be kind of interesting. Yeah. That would be I actually kind of like that whole idea of a Minecraft or a Terraria to implement something like that into a tabletop game in general is a really interesting concept. I don't know. It feels like those games are almost too freeform to actually be turned into a tabletop game, but I'm not sure. That would be an interesting design choice. You'd have to practically build blocks all of your own, or it would have to be some kind of a tile laying game, but almost a reductive tile laying game, where you actually take tiles away because you're mining them. I'm just mining the blocks as I go down. Something to that effect. So hey, and they want to build that game. Congratulations, you have that option. DC. I know that you're playing Oninaki. You just finished that up. But out of curiosity, was there anything else that you've been playing in the last month or so that you'd like us to know about?
No, I mean, I'm in 2 games of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, and now I'm looking for another video game to start. Thinking about getting a Switch and maybe going to Astral Chains. That looks good.
Ooh, yes. I know. I'm really tempted to get a Switch. There's so many good things on the Switch.
I mean, I was going to hold off until Animal Crossing, but...
Right. Then that got delayed. So... But at least you'll have it. That'll be good. I was kind of holding off until the Pokemons. but it's been hard because like we already have Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. And I'm like, I want to play those games.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to play Breath of the Wild too.
Yeah, I do too. Did you ever get a chance to try out Tales? That was the other thing I was going to ask you.
Oh, I did. The combat thing started to get a little too awkward for me, so I put it down for a bit. I might come back to it.
It does take some getting used to. It's especially like you were trying Symphonia, I'm going to guess.
Symphonia.
Okay. Symphonia, you have to get used to how the combat system is probably closer to an actual fighting game than an RPG. So that does take some getting used to. It is easier to understand than some of the later Tales games. because there was literally a Tales game I just tried to play that I was like, oh god, I can't play this game. I literally cannot do this because I can't beat the first boss because I have no idea what you want me to do. But the earlier Tales games where they weren't trying to do it in 3 dimensions, where you can, it's pseudo 3-dimensional, where they had like, no, it's on a 2D plane and that's what we're doing. Those were a little easier to wrap my head around.
See, that for me, that's a little awkward because I want more freedom of movement.
Right.
You give me some movement, but I'm like, this isn't enough for me.
Oh yeah, I understand. You may rethink that if you ever get a chance to play like God, what was it that I just played? But the later Tales games, because when they tried to do 3-dimensional movement, like the best way I could describe it is they were like, we want to do 3D, but we also really want to do 2D at the same time. If you're just playing and your character will automatically like run toward whoever your opponent is and deviate from that, even though you're in a circle in this circular arena, automatically going toward your opponent and targeting. And when you back out, you're backing out directly away from them to do that. You can utilize the rest of that playing field, but you have to depress a button in order for you to get free range of motion. Your finger off of that button, you're back on a linear path to your opponent, if that makes sense. And I'm like, yeah, this doesn't work for me. You either give me a 3-dimensional playing field or you don't. This is one of the two.
Right.
I don't want to try and figure out which one I'm doing at any given time. Which I guess maybe is the reason why I think of Symphonia in a little bit, romanticized vision, because it's like, well, I didn't have to think about that. that was off the table.
I was really liking the story though. It's just the mechanic bit. I'm like, oh well.
The story is awesome, and at like the deeper mechanics that they put into that, like the grade system and everything is really nice. But yeah, the combat mechanics, the best thing that I can advise is try and go in and custom build sets, because you can usually do that, like especially for Lloyd, where you can say like, okay, up is this move, and you can custom design all of that. Feels good in your hand, and you can just kind of like say like, I like these 5 moves that he does. If you get to that, like, you can just custom map to your play style. For the easiest things that you could possibly pull off, and I found that worked out really well. So if you happen to go back to it, that would be my big suggestion. Just try to go in and try to do custom mapping for all that. But yeah, no. The thing is that it does take some getting used to, especially if you're familiar with other JRPGs, because it's a very different combat system. But the storylines that they always have in Tales are great, and so I always like to tell people, like, try to get past that. try to get past the initial learning curve. You're going to be really happy with it, but it does take a little bit getting used to, if you are not familiar with the series to begin with. The deeper part of it, like Tales of Graces 2 is another great one. Like the storyline, especially by the time you get to the end, it's like, oh my god, I have so much emotional investment in this, and I don't know why. I'm so scared, but it's a really good series. It's just that it does always suffers because it has a very steep learning curve for its combat system. Beyond that, though, it's always great. But I am glad that you at least tried it. I'm really happy to hear that you tried it out. But what your next game is going to be, I can't. I can't tell you. Now that Oninaki's all over and done. Well, you know the thing that's coming out. Shortly.
Hey,
What was that?
Torchlight 2.
Torchlight 2. Oh, I love Torchlight 2.
Yeah. If you're familiar with like the original Torchlight, Torchlight 2 is coming out on like consoles and stuff, and so that's gonna be a big thing.
Yeah, that's
Talking
so
about
much
right
fun.
now. Yeah, the original Torchlight is really enjoyable. It's very endearing. If people are used to like the Diablo and you like that kind of style of game,
Mhm.
delightful, and sort of still in that style. But yeah, there's a Torchlight 2, and it's going to be coming out. It is one of those things that's kind of there's not a lot of fanfare around. So which is kind of strange because it was such a fan favorite when it came out, when the first game came out.
Yeah, I mean, still have it on Steam, and
Yeah. I have a version of it that I went back to because it was on. It was one of my games with gold for Xbox Live,
mhm.
and so I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember this game." I get to go back and I'll play a different kind of character just to try it out. I'm not going to be the one that can actually raise the dead. Can I raise the dead? That's great. So that's what I decided to do. And I was like, oh yeah, this is a nice little game that they had going there. And I know that they did it mostly because they wanted to promote the fact that Torchlight 2 was coming out.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, that's probably good because a lot of people we're getting into that season where there's so many like big release titles that are coming out that I think that they were worried something like the cracks and
Mhm.
most people probably will not be talking about Torchlight 2 because there's all of these big releases that are coming out in the next month or two, and people are probably going to be looking forward to those. So, unfortunately. But hey, you know what? When Torchlight 2 comes out, if anyone's out there who played it, please tell me if it's as nice as the first one. No. I'd like to know if they made improvements on the previous formula. I hope so, but I'm not sure. I'm going to still guess that it's different than what they did with Diablo 3.
Yeah. See, I never played the first Torchlight, but
Yeah.
so I can't compare it for you. But
Okay.
I've only done Torchlight 2.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I never got a chance to play the second one. I played the first one. The first one's nice. There were only 3 characters that you could choose from, so that was. But I think that was kind of an homage to the original Diablo, because that was the same deal. But were there other classes in Torchlight 2? I can't remember how many.
Yeah, there was a few. You could.
Yeah.
I think it was more than 3.
Yeah. But yeah, it's right. Just PC for a while. Console releases though. So.
Oh, there's 4 classes in Torchlight 2.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay. 4 classes versus 3. Okay, though. I like the first one. It was definitely good proof of concept, like so many first releases in a series usually are. And you could definitely see what they were trying to do with it. But yeah, if you're who likes to forces that are out there right now, Torchlight is coming to a neighborhood near you shortly. So Torchlight 2 is going to be coming out. Gonna be fun. If you keep away from all the other releases in the next couple months, which is, I know, thing to think about, because it's going to be it's a busy season, especially starting in September.
Yeah.
That you have pretty much been playing the Warcraft, but have you been playing something else besides the World of Warcraft? Alex is dead. I think Alex has officially died. He is.
Well, we've been looking at his Death Knight for a while now on the stream. So.
Yeah, we've been looking at Sourfang, and that's terrific. He has a 120. I can't believe that you can get up to 120 levels now.
Yeah.
I think the level cap when I quit was like 70. 70, possibly 80. I think 80 when it was Death Knight. Lich King. And it's Lich King. Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared by how, like, by the time Blizzard eventually says that, like, World of Warcraft is gone, they'll be up to, like, level 200 for your max. And I'm gonna be like, no, why are you doing this? I don't know how much more interesting it is at level 120. And level 200, I don't know. But that's fun. Yeah, he told me that he was doing a Death Knight, just because he liked how his Death Knight looked. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I like that armor set on that he has on now.
Oh, it's great. He looks like a really mean rhinoceros.
Yeah.
I love the spike coming out of his head. That's pretty great. That is definitely good. That like a Warframe armor set. I would totally go with that. If Paul were here, he would appreciate that. He's playing Warframe right now. I know that for a fact. Discord tells me. And he told me on the last one that he was back into Warframe. And it's like, all right, well, that's fine. I was into it for a little bit. I get it. But yeah, no, that does look like the kind of thing that a Tenno would wear. So that's good. Let's see. Since Alex isn't here, what have I been playing? Well, let's see. I did play the Borderlands. The Borderlands again. Oh yeah, what am I playing right now? I am playing Divinity 2 Original Sin. So I've been kind of deep in the weeds on that one. It is surprising only because it is completely different than the original Sin. I didn't know that going in. That they would change the whole system around. The kinds of combat skills that you can use, the kind of social skills that you can use. That whole system got completely overhauled between the two games. Going in, I thought I knew what I was doing, and then I started it up, and I was like, nope, totally lost again. But that is fine. I'm fine with that. It's cool.
Yeah.
I have a backlog of other games too, but oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, that's okay. I was just going to mention that the studio that is doing that did Divinity Original Sin 2 is also doing the new Baldur's Gate.
Yes, yeah, Larian Studios is going to be doing that, and so many people are thrilled by that, and I totally understand it. If they do, half of what they did with like their Divinity Original Sin, then we're in good shape. There's a handful of things I would really love to see come to like CRPGs that I have not been able to see, like multiple quest objective tracking and stuff like that. It seems to be really tricky. I don't know why. How can I please track things easier than having to like look at a map? Can I have waypoints and stuff? Like they do allow you to do waypoints in the Divinity series. It's just that those don't necessarily register on your map when you're not actively in the map at the same time. And this seems to be a common problem because I had also just recently played like Pillars of Eternity for a while.
Mhm.
And before that, the original Divinity, Original Sin, and then also like Torment, Tides of Numenera. And it seems to be like a common thing, like that you give as little information as possible about what you're doing at any given time. And I'm like, no, have we not learned anything from Skyrim? Just let me track multiple objectives at any given. That's my wish for Borderlands 3 too. Just like let me track multiple objectives at the same time. I want to be able to track at least 3 at any given time. I can put them up on the screen. Please let me do that. Don't know why I can only choose one at a time. It's annoying. But I would definitely like it for a Baldur's Gate 3. Jazz that they're going to be doing that though. I'm looking forward to the fact that we're even getting a Baldur's Gate 3 in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's good. What if EA decides that they're smart and they actually want to put BioWare on something that people will like? I'll take a KOTOR 3. Happen to get around to doing that. Be great. I'd be happy with that. BioWare can't mess that up. There's a lot of things that they've apparently been able to mess up, but they can't mess that up. Sorry. There's no way that that's possible. Thing on now is they're working on a new Dragon Age. I like Dragon Age fine, but I've seen your recent entries and it's not looking great. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's gonna be fine. So anyway, yeah, I've been playing a little bit of Divinity, and I think the funny thing that happened to me last night though is I went to sign in on my Xbox and there was a problem. They were having technical difficulties, so I couldn't sign into my profile. And what I found out is that if I can't sign into my profile for my Xbox, I can't play any of my games. If they don't let me sign into my profile. And I was like, okay, I'm really frustrated with this. I'm gonna boot up for the first time in 5 years, it turns out, my PlayStation 3. I still have it hanging around. I just never do anything with it. And the funniest thing is, get into your account after 5 years, you're starting at like your purchases that you made on this platform. I was like, I bought a game called Rainbow Moon. What was this game I played? And I had to like look it up, like, what is Rainbow Moon? Like, I started to think, like, what are half of these games that I just picked up at random? I don't even remember that I had these. And I think I was like, I started looking through my collection and looked through my game discs and stuff like that, and I had to update the software. The software was definitely not the because it wasn't actively connected to the internet, so I had to set up a wireless internet connection for it first. It's like, oh right, you don't know my new wireless router, and set all that up. And I did this so that I could like, I was like, oh, I'll just sign into like my Borderlands 2 on the Xbox. I have the Handsome Collection, but I had like a higher level character on my I think I maxed out my character on the PS3 version. Okay, so I'll go back into that. And the thing that's really strange for me, looking at it now, is usually when you think the old console generation